away for 6 days, and it's like the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com. I might be a little horsey today. Not totally horsey, but a little horsey. 954-990-0036. Show's going to have a different flow to it today. Let me restart this garbage computer. I need a new laptop. Anybody sell laptops? 954-990-0036. If you sell laptops, give laptops away. Anybody looking for golf lessons? By the way, a good friend of mine. He's gonna give me golf lessons. I've known him since high school. No, hogwash. I've known him since middle school. What back then was called junior high. That was right before they started rounding the tires. Because remember, back in the bedrock days, they were like squares. They didn't really. Anyway, long time ago, when my boy Muggsy's going to take me out to the driving range today. I call him Muggsy Brian Gonzalez. As good as they get. As far as, I don't ever want to demean his ability because he's like a golf pro. But golf's such an expensive game, right? So then people want to, I want lessons, and the guy go $100 an hour. Listen. I kind of like him because I trust him. I know he owns the damn game. Yeah, he owns golf. The guy plays great. And I think it's always a good sign in America when somebody goes out of their way with a business plan to try to make money. So I got to help my boy out. That's the only way I can tell you. So let me know. Call in the show, 954-990-0036. You tell me if you want golf lessons. I'll put you in touch with him. That has nothing to do with how I wanted to start the show. Here's what I wanted to start the show with. By the way, good morning, Frank.
Good morning. Hold on. Good morning.
Oh, that's right. I got to say hello to my favorite number 23. Here you go. So I was in New York this week. Nice, huh?
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky. It was business related. Long hours.
It gives you something to look forward to when you're done with your business.
And then since, the location of where I was, because I wasn't exactly in New York. I was in New Jersey.
Oh.
But I found my way into New York several times. We'll get into that. The beautiful thing was that you only had two things you could really do. Put aside sleep, because you have to sleep to coexist. Although, by the looks of today, if I can pull off this show, 3-hour show, and do it, it would prove that the show is longer than the amount of sleep I got last night. So I was in the middle of nowhere. So the only two things that really mattered that you could do was either get hammered, right, or eat like a pig. So I knew that the whole facility had great food, and of course, through the fact of what I was doing and whatnot, it was how can we say this? It was good food. The reason I was there, they take care of the food, right? So you're impressed. You're impressed. You eat like a champ. Whatever you want, great. It was always chicken, steak, or fish. Always going on all the time. So it was good. So I had to be careful. So I proteined up. Found a way somehow and miraculously to lose weight on this trip. But proteined up, but I did the wrong combination, see, because what I did was got hammered. I can't say got hammered. That's not the right thing to say. But I have a rule. I don't drink during the week. At all. Just don't drink during the week. For starters, I'm not the biggest drinker in the world. I'm a social drinker. I'm like anybody else. Sometimes I do, sometimes I'm not in the mood. But the one rule that stands is I don't drink during the week. Sometimes I'll go grab a beer. I'm not having no beer. It's not happening. So it's a rule I have, and it's a comfortable rule to have. It's a smart rule to have if you work long hours and
Agreed.
Peddling stuff or talking a lot of crap on the radio. You got to find a way to be level-headed a little bit at least.
Mm-hmm.
But I found a way just about every night to alter the mood via the imbibing of alcoholic beverage. So that was the kind of week I had. New York was good. I went to the ball game on Tuesday night, and undoubtedly, I think I was telling you before the show, I've been going to ball games my whole life. Remember the whole story about behind home plate? I've had the most amazing things happen behind home plate. Family had season tickets behind home plate. I'm tired of saying the same thing. You guys know that. I've been to many baseball games. I've been to World Series baseball games in multiple stadiums. Baseball to me is very near and dear to my heart. Tuesday night, random Tuesday night game with no, apparently, since the Yankees don't feel like playing good baseball, with no real playoff repercussions because it is the 20 games under 500 Houston Astros. I came away with a couple of things from that game. First was they drew 40,000 fans on a Tuesday night. I want you to sit there. And Frank, please, I want this to, I just want it to sit there in your blood and veins, and I want you to kind of marinate in that again. It was a Tuesday night. This year's New York Yankees, and I get the whole Derek Jeter effect. I got it. There were 40,000 fans there. Now, you know where I sat.
Bleachers.
Where exactly in the bleachers, if you remember. Quiz of the day.
203?
Yep. Met Ball Vinny.
Oh, cool. Okay, he was there this time.
Cool guy. Had a good time. Game starts. They do the roll call. And by the way, Miami's not the only place where people walk in post game start.
Yeah.
So I'm tired of hearing it because it happens in New York. And New York's a place where you have 19 ways to get to that damn ballpark. So.
Oh, by the way, did you find your parking?
My parking.
You said you were going to drive to Yankee Stadium. You didn't know where you were going to park.
Oh, yeah. There's like, oh, my God, it's so convenient.
Okay.
Are you kidding? I all my years going, like, remember, I was young. So when I was a kid, I probably didn't assimilate where we parked. But more often than not, I went to the boogie down on the train. So we were coming in from the Jersey side, so it was a little different. I'd never even done it that way. So 40,000, it fills up. By the second inning, the bleachers, basically, there's no room. Full capacity. And we've got a group from my job. We've got a group of people who I don't know who they are. Another group. We had about 5 different groups of people. And fantastic. I don't think I've ever had a better time at a ball game. And the funny thing is, the only day on that trip that I didn't drink was the night at Yankee Stadium.
That's crazy.
The only night I didn't drink. Funny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I usually have a rule, don't drink during the week, right? I'm actually there in business. And again, I don't want to paint a picture that I was staggering around New York like a drunk. That's not what was going on. I was having adult beverage. It would loosen me up. And I'd be like, oh, God, look, hey, I'm caught a little buzz. Hey, nothing out of this world. Dude, I've never had the time. These people heckling. These people. There's a guy who plays right field for the Houston Astros. His name is Robbie Grossman. Bro, we looked up on Google every which way but Tuesday to find some sort of dirt on him. Even a wife's name. Guy's unmarried. To just heckle him. Couldn't find good facts. So I went with the whole Rex Grossman thing.
Okay.
And everything's today is a lot of stuff today is going to tie into your town, by the way, even though I'm talking about New York. So they were giving this guy grief that I bet Rex plays better right field than you, but I doubt you're a better quarterback than him. That means you suck. I mean, they were just, it was, well, to the point with the Ushers game. They just told us to tone it down.
No.
I've
never heard of that before.
I have never in my entire life, I don't know if I was disappointed in the Yankee Stadium staff or that it was just that bad. It was hysterical, though. I mean, it was drop dead hysterical what was going on. And then you had 3 or 4 sub things going on all at once. We didn't know each other. We came darn close to taking like an Ussie of like 30 of us. Because we just all started getting on. Then we found out one of the girls, it was her birthday, and we sang her happy birthday. And like everybody sang happy. It was 30 of us singing happy birthday.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
One of the most amazing ballpark experiences I ever had. I'm tagging that, all right? Putting that in our little graveyard. Not even a graveyard. We're putting it up because we're going to come back to that in the game because that made me realize when I was going back to Jersey after that game, it made me realize something that even as a baseball fan, I'd forgotten, but a lot of people don't want to learn, and a lot of people don't want to accept. It's very easy to take pot shots at baseball and not understand what is the dynamics of that game and how you're supposed to enjoy that game. But furthermore, what I took away from a Tuesday night 40,000 plus attended game,
40,015.
40,000. You looked it up.
Yeah, 40,015. I looked up actually all 3 towns just to compare.
I don't want to hear this. I'm going to sidebar. I want to hear this. We're going to go to 30 on this. This is going to be a long
That's fine.
What did you?
Attendance for the Yankees, it was 40,015.
Right.
Chicago Cubs, 31,200.
Mm-hmm.
That same Tuesday night,
Unbelievable.
Miami, 20,200.
And you know what happens to Miami's numbers?
Yeah, it's paid attendance.
Anybody who's over 200 pounds, they count as 2 people. You hear about that? 954-990-0036. So we're gonna put a little asterisk next to my experience at the ballpark and what I learned on my way back.
That's cool. I'm picturing it. That sounds really cool.
Wednesday, and then of course, I was the leader of all this. Like I organized the Yankee Stadium trip. And had 6 men literally drooling over me, telling me that was like the smartest decision they made. They don't think I'll ever forget what went on Tuesday night in Yankee. And like, from the grand scope of things, from your perspective here, it was a Yankee game. You had to look up what the hell happened, who won, who lost. It was just a baseball game that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, there were 13 or 15 baseball games, right? Like, it was just another night in baseball. Remember, I talked about that. So Wednesday, go to New York. Same group of guys. And, man, I hear people tell me, oh, Times Square, it's so touristy. I know a lot of people over there. They go, oh, I don't even come here. You got to be kidding me. This is like, for you guys, you're tourists. I remember once going with Diz. By the way, I heard from Diz. And Diz telling me, I'm taking pictures and stuff. He goes, now I'm not associating with you because now you're a tourist. You're not a New Yorker. Oh, that's a bunch of hogwash. This time I decided, okay, I'll take a couple of pictures, but I wanted to see them react. There was one guy from Jersey, one guy who had lived there for a couple of years, and then the other 3 had basically, one was too little to remember when he went, and the other 2 had not seen it at all, only on TV. So it was just magnificent to see their reaction to the place. I walked around, you see the naked women who paint their bodies and take pictures. That's always funny.
Yep.
Especially when they have eraser tip nipples, but whatever. Dude, the same old lady, I know I talked about it on the show. The same old lady I ran into when I went with my family in July, I ran into her again. The old lady who's apparently indigent, lives on the streets, and I've apparently taken a big caring towards her. I'm not getting into that on the show. 954-990-0036. We had a great time in the city. Went to some rooftop bar. They gave you the most amazing view of Empire State Building. And yet the drinks were cheaper than, I'm not going to mention a place because I don't want to get in trouble, but many places in South Beach and across South Florida. I was astonished. Supposedly New York's a lot more expensive. So I had a fantastic time that day. And the trip overall was a raging success. Okay? And amidst that trip, one of the things, I'd come and I'd watch TV and I'd catch up on my sports a little bit. I knew I'd be there today. And one of the things that jumped out at me was did you hear about your Cubs the other day with the rain delay?
Yeah, the broken tarp.
Mm-hmm. So they protested the game.
Right.
Right, and then whatever, they had to complete the game. Am I right in saying they completed it Thursday night?
Yes.
All right.
Still lost.
Still lost anyway. So, now there's some reports coming out, right? That there's a reason why that happened, and it wasn't contrived or done on purpose.
Okay.
They apparently last year cut some of the staff and cut their hours. And when they cut their hours, this is reported now, this is allegedly, bring down their monthly hours just under Obama's Affordable Care Act threshold. And I know a little bit about this, and I mean, you may not, but the bottom line is companies who have 50 or more employees have to provide affordable health care to their employees. That's determined by how many hours those employees work. So they're calling a full-time equivalent 30 hours a week. Right?
Right.
And if you multiply that by 4.3 weeks, because that's more or less how you average what a month's time worth is, because some months are shorter than others, but the amount of hours monthly are 130. So there have been many reports that have come out and sources saying that they have, and quantified by virtue of the staff and the hours they're coincidentally working, to kept right under that 130 hour a month threshold so that they wouldn't have to offer benefits to their employees. Chicago Cubs were the most profitable team in baseball last year. They made more money at the bottom of their profit loss statement, the P&L, profits. So they have revenue minus cost of goods sold, operating expenses factored in there, and after they pay taxes, their bottom line, they're the most profitable team in baseball.
Wow.
But they decided that they didn't really want to offer their employees health care. Now, the Cubs have come out and vehemently denied this. Vehemently denied this. Not so sure they can deny it. So, ironically, we'll go ahead and put that, we'll put it right next to that other one that I talked about with baseball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to leave it right there.
Okay.
And then before we go to break, I want to talk about golf. Because golf's a darn good game, right? Fun game. I just opened with it, right? There's a reason why I opened with it.
Right.
Because I'm going to hack away, and I'm going to, the one sport I've never been able to, I don't dominate any sport. Understand and survive just about anything. Maybe not hockey, because I never really played it, but just about anything else. If I had to play a pickup game of any sort, I could survive it. Except hockey, because I never did it. And golf, because I spent years trying to do it right and couldn't do it. So it takes a lot of practice to get good at golf. These professionals, they're fantastic golfers for a reason. Because they put a lot of time and hard work and effort into their golf game. There are other people that have been known to put the same amount of time while they don't play at the professional level. You have friends that probably play golf crazily. I know I have a few that are just absolute golf addicts.
Yeah.
And then everybody knows a person who loves to play golf.
Mm-hmm.
President Barack Obama. So here's where I'm going with this. Never do this. In 10 years on the air, I've never brought something like this into the scope of sports. But the reason, in 954-990-0036, I have a bunch of bullet points that I want to talk about today. We'll go into football later. I got so much to talk about. The Johnny Manziel middle finger. We got a lot on the plate to talk about. I wanted to start the show like this because I'm beside myself furious. Apparently, our fearless leader decided he needed some golf practice and felt like it was okay to go out and play golf with Alonzo Mourning and a couple of friends. The day after, ISIS took one of our guys and in front of the world beheaded him because his brother was a member of the United States Air Force. We had a failed rescue attempt and a rejection of giving up $137 million as ransom. And they assassinated this journalist because that's what they do. Remember seeing him on the podium, him being President Barack Obama on the podium. Probably I've never seen him as upset as I saw him. Or at least seemed to be. And I found it stood out to me. It came out of the TV, and I put it in the back of my brain there a little bit. It's just like I've never seen him react to something like this. Like he genuinely looked pissed. And then the next day, the son of a bitch is playing 18 holes of golf like if nothing happened. And I love having the freedom in my country to call President Barack Obama a son of a bitch for doing that. I'm a military man, and I always got my president's back. Always. Whether I voted for him or not. And let's just say Obama has had at some point in time my support. Because of that edict. Because I've given all of them my support for that reason. Whether I've liked them, hated them, sort of thought they were okay, or absolutely adored them. That rat bastard, while that family was grieving and the world was in shock, I think the most impactful terrorist story since 9/11, if you ask me. Because it brings out, brother, I don't know how you feel. You see my demeanor right now. Like, I'm trying not to say the bad words because I always go to them when I get upset. But infuriate is one of the many, many adjectives that would fall majorly short of how I'm feeling about this situation. And I would never incorporate this into a sports show. And the only way I could is the fact that he woke his ass up, put his fanny on a golf cart, teed off with his foursome the very next day. A growing problem like ISIS on the other side of the world. There's another journalist over there they're going to kill.
Yeah, I saw the video.
They're going to kill him.
There's another guy there
They're
saying,
gonna kill him.
it's your move, Obama. You're next.
Yeah. Well,
He's next.
Right. And his mom lives in Pinecrest here, by the way.
Wow.
They're going to kill that guy.
The video was
And
crazy.
they go around and they assassinate people, no rhyme or reason. And we're going to have to militarily get involved to cut the nonsense out. And I'm not making this a political show. I'm not even going to go there because it's not important what I feel politically, what I feel would resolve the problem. That's not what I'm talking about here. 954-990-0036. What I am talking about here on the Amigo Show today, brought to you by Miami Princess Hotel, is people will always gain perception of things, one way or another. They're going to come to their own preconceived notions based on perception. And perception's a dangerous thing. Okay? When you're the president of the United States, golf is a wonderful sport. And at 4 o'clock, I'm going to go hack away to the chagrin of my wife and kids because they haven't seen me for a week. So come with me, man. I'm just going to a driving range. He's going to work on my swing. I mean, like, I just want to do this. Corner of my house, I'm going to Shoeless, free plug. So I'm taking time from my schedule to go do this. I understand that is exactly what golf is supposed to do. It's supposed to relax you, get your mind off of things. But I got to think, and presidents have been known for decades to want to do this. Woodrow Wilson and I forgot who else, like, literally played almost on a daily basis. Like, ridiculous. They played so much. Just did. I looked that up now. It was Woodrow and someone else. They just played an enormous. Was that Woodrow? Maybe, let me look it up before I actually say that. Anyway, I hope I have the article here. Bottom line. President Obama decided it was cool to play 18 holes of golf. And Mike Lupica wrote a column in the New York Daily News. You know who Mike Lupica is, Frank?
I've heard the name, but I don't know who it is.
Sports reporters. He's been known his whole life to be a sports guy. Big time sports guy. Big time New York sports columnist. One of the best. Legendary. I opened up the Daily News yesterday. And there's a picture of Obama in his golf cart. And a column written by Mike Lupica about this move. Ill-timed. Inappropriate. That guy is checked out. Sports. When a player is checked out, they're no longer good. If they're not focusing on their task, they suck. Okay? And when they're failing to do what they're supposed to be doing, because listen, bro, I didn't sign up for the job, neither did you, Frank, right? But he did.
Right.
Every time I popped up my computer, his freaking face was popping up in '08, reminding me that I'm supposed to vote for him, right? Legendary what his campaign did for social media, for the internet. It was a moment in time that 20 years from now, you'll read perhaps in history books. That's how big it was. Same guy that had us salivating, or some of us, because a lot of people weren't fooled. And certainly I have a bunch of friends that weren't fooled. I am indifferent towards politics, unfortunately. I have a strong opinion and choose to make it unimportant. Not very American of me, by the way. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm not going to change the balance. And it's a bad attitude to have. But I'm not going to resolve anything by getting it out there. Same way, I'm not going to resolve anything by putting my faith out there. You know I love God. Bring it up I sprinkle it in here and there. Never said a prayer in 10 years on the air. You know what I mean? But you all know where I stand with that. So how can I wear it on my sleeve and yet not talk about it? There's a balance to everything. So I do the same thing with politics. But President Obama and his ill-timed 18 holes of golf, okay, which, by the way, like, truthfully speaking, you guys might criticize Alonzo Mourning, really, dude? Like, when you woke up in the morning, brush your teeth, and started putting on your golf slacks, did it occur to you that that day might be a bad freaking day to go play golf with the president? I know it's not your responsibility. You're certainly not going to turn it down, but apparently your boys, right? Because he was with his close friends, and one of his close friends was Alonzo Mourning. And it's been known that he's been friends with Obama. Like, that's the day I call Fonz my best friend, right? He's the president of the United States. We're supposed to play golf tomorrow morning, right? Hey, Fonz, maybe today's not a good day for us to play golf. Forget about the guy whose position is to run the entire country, the superpower of the world. His job to be the leader of that. And his best thinking put him on a golf course. And there's a family grieving the death of their son because of the policies of that man. I'm not sure how he could possibly live with himself, right? But the moral of the story is simple. We all love sports, but at the end of the day, it has to be a precursor to our real lives. It has to be an afterthought. It has to be something that we put on the shelf and understand when we can go to it and when we can't. Okay? But it's simple. If you're the president of the United States and something as impactful as that has happened on your watch, something that you're never going to be able to blame on another president or on factors of society or anything of the sort, thinking your golf game bit ill-timed, President Obama. Thinking it was a real stupid move to go play golf that day. So I bring up the Cubs from Chicago doing something within the organization to not be affected by the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Obamacare, right?
Right.
Obama, his roots are from Chicago.
Okay.
Same Obama from Chicago who decided golf was a good idea. 18 hours after, chop the dude's head off, bro. Because if you're insensitive enough, like, don't grieve in front of a TV to me and act like you're upset or pissed. And I know why he's pissed. He's pissed because his rescue attempt failed the same way the Keystone Cops would have failed had they tried to go rescue him. And the blood's on your hands. Got to make tough decisions as a president sometimes, but the blood's on your hands. And that when I say a tough decision, it's you make a tough decision, all right? But the tough decision should not be, do I go play golf today or not? That crap pissed me off. And I don't usually do the sports/politics thing, but I felt today it was relevant because that's the same Chicago Obama that negotiated with terrorists to the point of giving them back all their hoods in exchange for a traitor, a Benedict Arnold, because he was being held. Got hustled on that deal too. Maybe if he didn't play so much damn golf, he could concentrate on not getting out hustled. 954-990. I had to get off my chest because that's an awful burden to have. We have a caller?
Yeah.
I'll take the caller before we go to break. What's his name?
Jay.
Jay, what's going on? You're on the Amigo Show.
Hey, Larry.
What's going on, Jay?
Miz.
What's that?
It's Maserati.
Oh, what's going on, kid?
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm all right. A little. I threw a curveball on the start of this show. I went a little longer on the segment because I wanted to do one of those little tie-in games, and it was kind of funny the way I did it. But I was pissed off about something, and I found a couple of stories to tie into Chicago and our president. And in 10 years, I've never spoken politics, never made a mention of anything, and today I did it. So I think once I hang up with you, we're going to talk football. But talk to me, bro. How are you, man?
Yeah, so today is Canes Fest, as you know, and it's an exciting part of the year. It's something for all Canes fans that wait for months, seems like years, and just fired up and excited to share it with you.
Absolutely. We'll be talking about that throughout the show as well. I know a lot of Canes fans are excited. Today's a good day. By the way, I got my credentials on Wednesday, so I'm excited about, yet another year of being part of the University of Miami football program family, because that's exactly how they treat you out there when you're a member of the media. I've always said the Miami Heat do a fantastic job on a professional level. On a collegiate level, it's rare to find a program. And, I'm going to use we very, very loosely here. But we take a lot of crap from outsiders, you know what I mean? And outside from the normal college football, hustle and bustle, the Gators, the rivalries, and it's all great. But at the end of the day, for some reason, the U always seems to get a little bit of lashback from people around the country, and it's ironic. It's the only university in Division I that their logo is the logo of their university.
Yep.
All right. So the brand is so strong, and maybe I'm talking a little too much business here when it comes to, but the brand is so strong, okay, that understandably to me it's a powerhouse, and it's evident in the little things like how they treat the little folk. And as a member of the media who has been credentialed with them for decades, okay, they are simply wonderful with me, and they are wonderful with the people they are. So I wanted to bring that up because they are the closest thing to professional you're gonna get. Like they do as good a job as anyone. This once upon a time in this town, they were the professional team, but this every year is an event to go to, and the Canes faithful. They dress it up. They wear it proud. They smell football season down the pike, right? Mm-hmm. And this is the kickoff event. This is opening ceremonies, if you will. And it's nothing short of amazing. The kids go out there. They have a great time. A lot of interactivity. I'm sorry. It's one of those must-go-to events. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that's how I feel about it.
I know you did a good job explaining it. It's you think about it, it's 30 years since they won their first national championship. So it's what you shared in regards to the whole family atmosphere and the logo. That stems back from being a small university in Coral Gables and really the community surrounding and supporting it. I mean, if you think about the inner city kids that went to the university very early on in the very early 80s, and what it's done for the community, it's really given these people, and now today adults, a chance to succeed, not only on the football field, but a lot of them are successful business owners or contributors to South Florida. So, that's why you feel that way, Larry. It makes complete sense. For me, in the role that I'm in, I take a lot of pride, and I'm really excited about this year. I think this is the year Al Golden fields a team that's a contender. I'm not going to say national championship, but definitely.
Oh, there's going to be improvement. There's going to be improvement. It's simple. It's very easy. And if they want to call me a homer, they can. And you know what? I'm going to tell you, when I hang up with you, we're going to go to break. And then when I come back, this is going to be the topic we're going to go into, because I have a couple of things I want to talk about that. And I don't want to talk about Obama anymore. The thing is you're going to have guys on each side lining up at the wide receiver position that are going to stretch your field. All right? You're going to have a running back who has come back 12 pounds stronger, because apparently he took the 12 pounds and said, I'm going to run faster. And he's running faster than he was when he didn't have the 12 pounds. So what's the oldest, power and motion? speed and motion is equals power. Like, are you kidding? Like, I can't wait to see what Duke Johnson does when he hits those holes. He used to hit those holes and scat away and be gone. I'm wondering what we're going to see from him if he's going to run people over. Like, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but there's a lot to look forward to with that offense. Does D'Onofrio's defense step up? I was saying this, I think it was in last week's show, right, Frank? Where part of his improvement is going to come from having a defense that has the ball, that holds it longer, that's going to be able to sustain a drive because of a running game where the clock runs. And we're going to see improvements on both sides of the ball. I am unbelievably excited about this season. Certainly not afraid of November 15th. As you could tell, I don't know if you know this, Jay, I made a wager on the air with an FSU listener. And I wasn't allowed to get points, but I was able to get the money line from him on that. So, in other words, whatever the money line, let's say it's a 21-point spread, Vegas will determine that there's a money line, like 2-1, 5-2. So I'm going to get the crucial amount of the money line, but they have to win. The Canes have to win. I'm betting that the Canes are going to win. And
well, Larry, it'll be great to see you on the sidelines, and looking forward to seeing you soon, my brother. Great job with the show, you and Frankie, and I guess, like they say, it's a Canes thing. You wouldn't understand.
I wouldn't understand
that. And go Canes, brother.
Thanks, man. They wouldn't understand that. They wouldn't know half of what they need. They wouldn't know what the hell to do. Jay Miz calling the show. 954-9900. This is the longest segment in the history of the show. That's okay, because we're going to go ahead and go to break. When we come back, I'm going to do just that. I'm going to talk about the Canes a little bit, because I'm pretty darn excited about what's going to happen this season. Stoked about what's going to happen this season. Absolutely. Just beyond belief. But I want to share a story with you, as I was telling you how special the program is to me. A couple of people I want to recognize and mention on the other side and talk about how they've carried on a tradition of what I'm talking about this professionalism. And I always got a story to tell, don't I, right?
Yep.
I got one when we come back here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Escape with your loved one to your own private fantasy world at the totally renovated Miami Princess Hotel, 4251 Northwest 11th Street, next to the airport in Miami. Unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms. Journey to the Orient in the Japanese room. Ancient delights await in the Roman room. Be the king of your jungle in the Tarzan room. Breathtaking suites designed to provide the utmost of intimacy. Miami Princess Hotel, located close to I-95 and the airport. Give them a call, 305-441-1862. That's 305-441-1862.
Welcome to the Moses Love Hour, filled with friends, live music, and conscious living. Take some time and come on the adventures aboard Mission Control. From the I Love Yoga studios in Dania Beach, Florida, USA. Streaming live Sunday nights from 9 to 10 on SoFloRadio.com.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show.
So how do people actually do it, males, in the region?
Nah, see, I don't.
Dude, if you say you have that much pain on your arm and legs, that's unacceptable. At that point, something's going on.
I don't go to that level though. I trim with a little machine, bro. You know
little buzzer?
Little buzzer. You buzz down there, a little manscape, and we're good to go. Hey, bro, you got a manscape nowadays. No chick wants to go down there and, you know what I'm saying, feel hairs.
No, that's terrible.
That's
and
terrible.
Neither do we, so you got, it goes both ways, right?
It goes both ways, brother. You know what I'm saying? Some chicks go down there, you got hair, and they're like, whoa, wait, let me come back up.
Hold on, cowboy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Oh, have you not heard?
It was my understanding that everyone had heard.
Heard what?
Brian, don't! A well a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, a well a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, a well a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word, a well a bird, bird, bird. Bird, a word.
On SoFlowRadio.com.
Papa umau mau mau papa umau mau mau papa umau mau mau papa umau mau mau papa umau mau mau.
Who y'all talking to, man? Check it out. Check it out. This here goes out. No doubt. Cribs. Think this is sweet. Niggas creep up on your ass.
I'm gonna let that ride a little bit. Look at Frank. Frank the Tank at Frank the Tank 305 on Twitter. Let that ride. He knew what I was doing.
To that with the Kodak, it's the Mattack. We don't get down like that. Lay my game down quite flat. Sweetness.
Love that song, Biggie Smalls. I got a story to tell. 954-990-0036. We're gonna talk some Canes now. By the way, I was throwing a surprise party yesterday, and it was Canes themed. By the way, as I walked in my Yankee gear.
I saw the video. I saw your daughter's post. You looked like a little kid. It was good. Good reaction.
I was really completely startled. Like,
yeah, you looked it.
I had no idea whatsoever. Clueless. Was actually a little upset because they had me waiting in the airport for like an hour after I'd spent 5 hours in Newark. So I was tired of being in airports. I was like so upset. What I've criticized for years people doing, I did. I threw down the bag and laid down on the bench. I didn't do the floor because the floor is so see. Although the bench probably not much cleaner. I just laid down. Exhausted, bro. The whole day in an airport.
Yeah.
Flight was 2 hours long. Took me 9.5 hours. Like, no, actually, if you put it all together, it took me 10 hours to get home. I hopped on a shuttle at 11:27. I walked through the door of my house. It was like 9:30 or so. No, it wasn't that late. It was about 9. Anyway. But yeah, man. So they got me good. And they got like Blast from the Past, my old friends. It was like just dynamite time. So Thank you very much to my wife. I love you, honey. That was good stuff.
I know how your neighborhood's set up. Where were all the cars?
And they got me. And they got me. They got me because they got me. I mean, simply, there was. I expected there to be my best friend Fonz, and Jimmy had said he was going to come by, but I didn't think. And then when I saw his car there, I was like, okay, so he came by. The only cars I saw. The only cars I saw. That was it. So it didn't even look. Apparently they parked on the outskirts, like like the side road there, or whatever. And I was just busy trying to get home. I wasn't looking at what cars were on the side of the road.
Of course.
Man, they got me good. So thank you very much. That was very special. It was kind of a dual thing because I flexed my business muscle and did very good work this week. Made very much good deal this week as a businessman, not as a man of the radio, but as a businessman. I closed a very big thing there, and I did a good thing. So we were celebrating that as well. Today's Canes Fest, celebrating Canes. That's what ought to be happening. That's what ought to be happening. And we let off with story to tell. Give me the number 954-990-0036. Maybe you got a story to tell. I want to hear it. Because I hope you want to hear mine. Mine's pretty darn good. Not great, but pretty darn good. Just talking about the University of Miami being a class organization. Class program, because they're not really, you want to refer to them as organizations. So, but be that as it may, the University of Miami, back when I was young, as is today, is my program of choice. I love them very, very much. Rooted for them as a teenager. I got here from New York. So it was only natural as I went to study journalism that if I could align with this program that was on the come up, and boy, were they on the come up.
Good timing.
that it would be kind of a cool thing. It was always a perfect storm. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, but I think great opportunities come with a mix of things. And one of those things is fantastic timing, and the other one is pretty darn good luck. So you combine with I'm getting involved in these games with the fact that I had become friends with Alonzo Highsmith and Melvin Bratton, who then individually have introduced me to dozens and dozens of former Canes and allowed me to be relatively, what we may say, part of the fiber there. Not a big deal. I'm just Larry, dude. You know, like, I'm not a big deal. People aren't running around hugging me when they see me. It's not like that. Let's not get away. Because they got a lot of stuff going on there. But it's been a family environment. And they had just lost the Fiesta Bowl in 86. A lot of negative talk about them. So come back in 87, right? And I'm working for the paper at Miami-Dade College. And then it was, Miami-Dade Community College back then. Did 2 years there before I went to higher learning from there. And I was mentored and advised by Jose Quevedo, who was just an absolute brilliant man when it came to journalism. And I asked him, I said, here we're covering like women's volleyball, and the baseball team at Dade Center was very good. I said, let me try to get credentialed for the University of Miami. No, don't do it. What do you mean, no, don't do it? Don't do it. We're not going to write anything about them. I'm like, dude, wait a minute. Like, this is downtown campus. What high school is a mile and a half away from here?
Miami High?
Miami High. Based on the neighborhood and the proximity of the Orange Bowl, how many Miami High students do you think were rooting for the University of Miami?
Probably all of them.
Right.
Because they lived
to the point
5
where
blocks away from the Orange Bowl.
To the point was when you'd go downstairs for lunch, you have this huge round table, and that was the sports forum like I'd never seen before. Actually, probably never seen again. Because sometimes 3 or 4 guys sit around a table and talk. This was 15 guys.
Okay.
Couple girls. And weren't talking about where they went last night to have beer. They were talking about the Canes.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about sports. Fanatical about their Canes. And I identified this as these guys need to hear this. They want to hear this. They're all doing it at a table. I have the avenue through this paper. Smart as Quevedo was, he said no. Did I listen?
No.
No. In fact, he pulled my ear out. Is this true that you went to... Yes, I did. I told you not to do it. I go, you're going to keep me from writing about the Canes? They're like the most relevant team in sports in town. Like, they get more attention than the Dolphins. I finally told him, give me a chance to do it. He said, fine. What spawned from that, I have said stories before, because I wrote a series of articles talking about how the Canes were going to win the national championship that year. I needed access, right?
Mm-hmm.
I called the Canes and asked for credentials. It's a very formal way of requesting credentials. Here's this snot-nosed 19-year-old dude calling in, saying, hey, I was probably actually 20. Between 19. I was 19. Doesn't matter what I was. 19 or 20. No reference to my advisor. They actually, does your advisor know this? Because apparently, we're limited with these things. I'm like, I understand. But being that the downtown campus has the closest proximity to the university and to the areas that are the strongest as far as outside support for the University of Miami, I feel like, it'd be a good get. I mean, I think people are reading this paper and they want to hear about the Canes. Everybody wants to hear about the Canes. On my word, they approved my credentials. On my word. They called Quevedo. Quevedo said, yes, he's a member of my staff. I understand how that is. If you don't want to grant it, it's completely understood. I asked him, probably it wasn't a good idea. He didn't totally throw me under the bus because he didn't want to didn't want to make it seem like at that point when they called. But I guess he said something to the point of, there would be no problems if you couldn't get him in, but I know he would be excited about writing about it. I said, no, we're just confirming he's a member of your staff. We've already approved his credentials. And I was going to press conferences on Tuesday, press box access, and I was 19, by the way. Just all sorts of things that make you a member of the media. And I was treated like a member of the media from the first day. So much so that I picked up the phone one day and I called him and I said, I'd like to set up an appointment with head coach Jimmy Johnson. I just want to talk to him. Okay, and you are Larry Milian. I write for Miami-Dade. I write for the what was it, the Barracudas? What was it? God, I don't even remember the
Sharks?
name. No, Sharks. No, the Barracudas when it was
okay.
Miami-Dade downtown campus.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what the hell was the name of our damn paper. I'm going nuts here. That's actually scary. I'm old. And told me, do you come on Tuesdays? I said, yes, I do. Could you stick around for 30 minutes next Tuesday, and I'll put you on his calendar. Like, it used to be at 1 o'clock, so like 2:30. So I would start work. I was doing part-time work as well, making money. I had to literally call him and work sick. I said, sure, no problem. And I was shaking like a leaf because there you go. I never even interviewed my grandmother. My biggest interview up till then was Jose Canseco's father. Not even Jose Canseco. Jose Canseco's father was my claim to fame of interviews. Because in college, you're learning how to do the process.
Right.
They granted, they confirmed. I show up. And I walk into Jimmy's office. Jimmy knew I was nervous. I had a list of questions. I wanted to make it brief. I didn't want to waste his time. I couldn't even read the questions. I was so nervous. Put me at ease. Told me not to worry. He answered my questions. He goes, if you ever need to come in here again to talk to me, call them up and set up a time and we'll do it. And I did it one more time.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Okay, not to mention the access to them at the press conferences. And I could just walk up to them, Jimmy, let me ask you a question. And then I started incorporating meeting the players because obviously Bratton was on that team. And I already told you that before I had met him. This is the perfect timing thing.
Right.
Alonzo had already left. Mel was introducing me to people. One of the guys he introduced me to was Michael Irvin. So I'm painting a picture here for a reason. So I had the support of media relations, the support of the head coach, and I had the support of the players at the age of 19 in 1987 at the University of Miami. So turn the clock, close to 30 years later, 27 years later, I get my credentials the other day in the mail, fully credentialed. And I think to myself, I've got Al Golden's support. I can call him tomorrow, he'll come on the show, whatever I need from him. Mm-hmm. I have media relations support. And I have the support. I walk up to a player. No worries. Duke's been nothing but nice to me. You know, Tracy Howard, a great guy. Had an opportunity to meet him. A couple of the other players I've had a chance to talk to. And I'm more distant these days because I'm not as intertwined because I'm on the outside. I've got, I do the things that I do. I want to be knowledgeable. I want to be in there, but I don't. Back when I was a kid, the Blades brothers, I used to interview everybody, and they all remembered me. Forget an ugly face like this. And I tied it all in, and I was thinking about it. And this corny fool here got choked up the other day because it dawned on me. Two guys that are part of that media relations family that I'm used to dealing with on a day in, day out basis. That were my boys that treat me like I'm their boys. Have never failed me. Have never said no to anything I've asked for. One is already a member of the media department over at Georgia Tech. That's Chris Yandel. Mm-hmm. Great guy. Fantastic guy. Top-notch dude. Always treated me with respect. But there was a reason why he treated me with respect. He'd been here 3 or 4 years maybe. Because his boss, Chris Freet, told him to. Who'd been with a little longer. And we just found out that he'll be moving on. I believe it's to Arkansas. Is that correct?
I think that's what it is.
And I wanted to congratulate both of those guys here on the air today. Yandel's the man. Chris Freet. I have mad love for Chris Freet. Chris Freet's a dude that has gone to bat for me, that I've asked specific things that are, like, I don't think I've ever asked anybody in that position before. And he's the assistant athletic director. He's involved in all factions because he's not even really, but he has a seat, like he oversees parts of sales. So he's the assistant that deals with all the other parts that put this together. And anything I've ever asked that guy for, I've gotten it. And when I've wanted to talk to Golden, he's told me, I know in the next 2 weeks you won't get to talk to him, but 2 weeks from next Friday, he'll be available. I'm going to make sure I get, like, just a man of his word. I wanted to personally congratulate him on his new job and his new position, his new opportunity. I believe he'll be there another week or two at UM. That guy's unbelievable. Hopefully we run into him today. That guy's just unbelievable. And I wanted to give him a shout out. And I tie all the family things in is because I sent him an email. I said, hey, as you know, I've been, recognized as a member of your media for many years now. And you guys have been nothing but amazing with me. And people have carried the torch, and it's been seamless. So I'm going to go by and see you. I got to go pick up my credentials. I got a little something I want to take to you. And I want to make sure that there's a smooth passing of the torch. My concern comes from only one place, is that I'm not there as much as I used to be. Because I was either covering stuff for the Herald, doing for them. I was on the radio and getting in there. Like last year, I'm screaming from afar, I'm still here. Just, I'm still here. Like, I'm not in the way, but I'm still here.
Right.
I might work with State of the U, and obviously we talk about him all the time here. And he wrote me back. You have no worries. You will never have any worries. You are in good hands. Gorby and the other person, which I don't actually know the other person. I remember, but Gorby, I know. And that got the wheel spinning. That reminded me of that 87 interview with Jimmy Johnson. That reminded me of having field access with that team, basically, whenever it was okay. Whenever it was fine. No problem. Come on. The things that they've allowed me to do over the years have actually progressed my media presence. And it's the only part of my media presence that has been from start to finish. I started in the media as a kid, and that was my first break within the media. And today, I'm an old fart, right? And I'm still treated like that kid back in 1987 was when he walked into Jimmy Johnson's office. Canes Fest is something you should go to today if you support this program. If you can't make it for whatever reason, don't worry. We got a few football games over the next few weeks that should be attended. Butts and chairs. If the Yankees can put 40,000 on a Tuesday night, there's no reason why this town can't stand behind the University of Miami. A lot of late afternoon starts. No excuses. Let's get out there and support this team. They're going to be much better than they were last year. We're going to continue to see Al Golden growing this team. We're going to see the fruits of their hard labor. And remember I told you that defense is going to be better this year. I understand there's someone here on our staff that doesn't agree with me on that. I can't wait to come in and debate them. Because they're going to be better. By force, by sheer fact that the offense will be better. Less turnovers, longer drives, sustained drives, higher percentage of scoring drives, more time of possession, which means less opportunity for the other team to score when they have the ball. It's all a numbers game. They're not going to be the 85 Bears. Okay? I hope you understand that. And I have concerns when one side you have Chickalo, who hasn't shown me this, and then the other side you have two guys that don't weigh very much. And they're defensive ends. See how that works, especially when you have a front four, you need them to be able to put the pressure on the quarterback. Because of the problems we've had defensively. There's some concerns that I completely understand. Maybe it's the whole August optimism that I always seem to get right around this time of year when it comes to Canes football. But this team will be better. This team will be stronger. And so will we, second hour when we come back from break here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
The Amigo Show would like to thank the law offices of Hockman and Golden, PA at www.ticketlawfirm.com. Both attorneys, Sonny Golden and Scott Hockman, are graduates of the U, both undergrad and law school. Celebrating 20 years of helping drivers with traffic-related incidents, speeding tickets, red light camera violations, accidents. 305-665-1000 or ticketlawfirm.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment. Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this? Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. It's Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show.
Park was a disaster. Oh, you've been there? The Gadorade?
Gadorade. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's Gatorade. That's Gatorade in Spanish. Yeah.
Gadorade.
Gadorade.
I ordered a Gatorade once and he goes, Chico, you got un Gadorade? I'm like, what? Look at Franco. What is he talking about? He goes,
Gatorade.
Gatorade, homie. I was like, what?
Little Havana living, baby.
That was awesome.
The Owen Frank Noodle Show. Tuesday evenings from 6 to 8 p.m. only on SoFloRadio.com. You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Now, you guys mind telling me what you're doing with my little green pal over there?
On SoFloRadio.com.
Who the heck is that? Wayne Gretzky? On steroids?
Come on, man. And with the local DBC news, LL Cool J with a triumphant comeback. But tonight, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my pants, put suckers in fear, making the tears.
10:03 here. Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com. Explosions, right? Been subdued with the button machine today, haven't I?
You've been quiet.
Been keeping it quiet, right? I've had a lot to say in that first hour. All right, so I have a strategy session planned with my son today after the show.
A strategy session?
Yeah, 6 days. 6 days of not talking sports with him.
Oh, my God.
So, you know. Last night at the party, he was doing his thing, by the way.
Oh, no.
Yeah. He was back at it. Girlfriend of a buddy of mine comes up to me and says, he's so adorable, I could just bite his cheeks. I said, which ones? He walks by, I call him over. She goes, you're so handsome, oh my goodness. He says, thank you. Tells me the other day that he's at a table at school. I think it's like 6 kids. It's him, another dude, and 4 chicks. I said, what's the point, puppy? Don't you there to study? He goes, yeah, I know, but, you know, it was cool. I think I made new friends already. Kind of letting me know that apparently that's going to be the Adonis of the group, apparently. I mean, I don't know where he got the looks from. I guess mom, because thing is, his mom could be the freaking runway model. When you mix that with my ugly, like, it's hard to come back with handsome, you know? They say it's a face for radio, and there's a reason why, right? So there's a couple things we put on that little piece of paper, right? And they're still up there. Remember the piece of paper we did earlier in the show? Remember the couple things I wanted to...
Cubs, golf, Chicago.
All right, so we already addressed that. So we're going to wipe that off. We're going to create a new list here in the second hour of things we're going to table.
You're making me feel like I got to start putting pictures connected with yarn.
I may come in
and-
here with easel paper and start hanging this stuff up so that we have, we have a clear view on how we run this. It's what happens when you go to corporate trainings for a week. It's like you
Jesus.
become very corporate, very, very corporate. You eat a lot of food and crap all day. So, Manziel sticks out the middle finger.
I have a feeling, man, you're going to disagree big time on this one.
Bro, why do you always underestimate me?
Okay. You should have heard what I was saying on Wednesday.
Who gives a rat's ass if he flicked off the opposing team? Who cares?
Wait a minute. What's
He's
going
playing
on?
football. It's a game, all right, where you knock people around. It's a game where you talk smack. Where you tell the other guy, hey, brother, I'm going to knock you on your keister, and when you get back up, I'm going to smack you in your face. And when it's all done, I'm going to kick you in the balls. This is how this game's played. Go fly a kite. That's why Jonathan Martin's such a pussy. Oh, did I say that? Shoot. So what?
I thought you were going to slip twice.
You know, it's a game of football, bro. If the Redskins are so damn butthurt because he flicked them off, abafangu to you, Redskins. Really, dude? The guys with the objectionable name, right? They're going to walk around and, like, correct me if I'm wrong, because corporate training, I was able to get a good piece of things, but I please tell me nobody got upset about this.
Media's hyping us up. That's
So-
what it is.
So the Redskins didn't get angry, did they?
No, they didn't get angry. I mean, it's the media hyping it up, and the media saying, "Oh, the whole vibe around Johnny Manziel is that's not professional enough, and he shouldn't be doing that, and it's just Johnny being Johnny, blah 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 blah." Which I have no problem with it. I actually like his attitude. Looks like he's having fun. This is my problem with it. When a player, remember, let's go Jay Cutler. Let's go back to Chicago. Remember Jay Cutler NFC Championship game versus Green Bay that he sat out the entire second half? Oh, okay, well, he doesn't have enough heart to play. He didn't show enough emotion. That's in the NFC the championship game. Now you have a rookie doing it in a preseason game, and now it's too much emotion. So which is it?
They make a lot of money, dude. If the guy wants to grab his nutsack and say, hey, we're going forward here, but look, here, I got one for you right here, or two right here for you. Who cares?
And if it would have gone back to the sideline and just started just going at him, would that have been any better? It would have been the same thing.
What I can't believe is with indifference, he ran off their sideline and gave him the universal sign of love. I love to do that. We do it for LeBron every day. Here, in fact, second hour, here you go, LeBron.
There you go.
Abafangu to you, 954-990-0036. Who gives a rat's ass? So the NFL finds him? Are you kidding? Really? What the hell's going on here with this league? Have you seen how the officials have been officiating in the preseason? They got an
Flag
extra
fest, man.
Yeah, they got an extra butt out there
flag fest.
refereeing. There's an extra ref out there.
Yeah, I know that. It's a flag fest. It's like 30 flags a game. That's ridiculous.
Last night there was like 26.
The average they were saying between all the games was 24 flags.
Nice.
That's ridiculous.
Nice. That's real good. That's a real even flow to the game. That's exactly what I want to watch. I want to watch guys dressed up like zebras controlling the game of football. That's what I want to see. Unreal. So Manziel gets fined. No one cares.
Mm-mm.
You know what they should be caring or talking about? And again, this is the freaking brutal media doing what they do best. It's just completely exploding the situation. Leave the kid alone, bro. Leave the kid alone. Who's the first quarterback selected in this year's draft?
It wasn't him.
I don't think it was him. I am curious who it was.
I forgot. Give me a minute.
I should know that off the top of my head, though.
Wasn't it Bortles?
Might have been Bortles, right?
I think it was Bortles.
I was hoping it was him because he looks like the real deal, right?
Yeah, they didn't give him the starter position.
That's fine. That's okay. He's a new kid on the block. He's got to learn. He's got to get the ropes down. I get it. Completely get it. No worries. How come we don't hear about him?
Because he's stuck in Jacksonville?
Because he's not Johnny Manziel. He's not Johnny Football who won the Heisman Trophy. That's why we don't hear him. So then Johnny Manziel, who can't complete a pass to save his life, a guy who doesn't seem to be anywhere close to being ready.
It was Bortles.
Which is proven by the fact that they went with Hoyer as a starting quarterback. Guy's not ready to be at that level. So, whatever they said to him on the Redskins sideline, which, by the way, I have here. Apparently, Ryan Clark talked about it. He said the statement was, quote, "This isn't college anymore, and these people are faster than you are."
What's wrong with that?
And he apparently didn't like it. And apparently that's the cleaned up statement. But I imagine how it was said to him must have been pretty funny. He's playing with the big boys now, bro. Tiene que aguantarle. Finding him for a middle finger.
The only reason why they caught him is because he is Johnny Manziel.
So if he turns around to the bench and he gives up this little... Who does this all the time, by the way?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z does this, right?
It's The Rock.
It's The Rock, right? It also looks like a vagina.
Yeah.
Okay? So my interpretation, like if I were mad and I wanted to piss them off, a middle finger is just, I don't give a rat's ass about you. If I really wanted to get in their skin, I'd point at them and go, point at my balls, and then I'd put up the vag sign. The international vag sign.
Mm-hmm.
Would they find me for that?
Probably. I don't know.
Really?
I don't know.
So they would find me for that. So it's gotten to this in the NFL. It's a game of emotion, guys. It's a game that, oh, by the way, if it's offensive for him to flip up a middle finger, then it's offensive for that guy to tell him that this isn't college anymore, by the way. Because then you're teetering on the line of what you can't do because you're offending people.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
What's so bad about the finger?
Oh, I love the finger. Finger's a part of my everyday life. I love flicking people off when they piss me off. Then we do the finger conversation that I don't do the side twist on the finger. That's the complete length of the long. That's a New York middle finger right there. Look. That I brought with me from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Miami middle finger's got, kind of like the outside fingers kind of nestled around it in a way that, makes it funny. Makes it look like a twisty a little bit, if you're watching me on the video. Who cares, dude? We're playing a grown-ups game. Who cares? Somebody explain to me where the importance of all this lies. Yet more hype to the media machine that is Johnny Manziel. And it brings me to this question. And I don't have a problem with Johnny Manziel, by the way. But at this stage, for both of the people I'm going to ask you, I want an answer. At this stage, who's better at the craft? In other words, coming in from college, first training camp. Manziel or Tebow?
Manziel.
Okay.
A lot of people are going to misinterpret that with hate for Tebow that I have, but I still think it's Manziel.
I love Tebow. I have no problem with Tebow.
Can't stand
He's the only Gator I have any sort of liking towards. But he improved upon that, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he was the anti-Manziel because there's no middle fingers coming from Tebow, right?
Yeah.
There's biblical scriptures on the eye things,
It's like having the angel and the devil.
Yeah, I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Blah, blah, blah. Beautiful, fantastic. There's nothing wrong with that. And he was a media circus as well. And at some point in his career, he improved. And he continues to improve. And many will tell you he sucked. And that's fine. I will tell you that he served the purpose. I feel at the back end he got a little bit of a raw deal. He was not a good mechanical quarterback at the NFL level.
No.
Guess who else isn't? Johnny Manziel.
Mm-hmm.
He throws the football like he's twerking. Like, what the hell's that crap? Okay? And then with all due respect, I'm not calling him a coward, but every chance he gets, he runs.
Yep.
It doesn't work in the NFL, Papa. Twerking and jiving doesn't work in the NFL. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what... what purpose could he possibly serve playing football like that? He's got to get better. He's got to do it different before he's even considered serious. So my point is, Tebow was worse than this, and he was a media circus. Who's the first quarterback picked the year Tebow was drafted? Can you look that up for me?
What year was that?
Yeah. My mind works in so many strange ways, but you see how I'm tying. You're starting to figure out what I'm tying in here.
Was that 2010? I got you. Don't worry.
That sounds right. It sounds like it is very right.
I'll find it. Give me a couple minutes.
So, the guy who sucks, who happens to be a media darling, gets the attention. But yet, this is what's wrong with the media, because is Johnny Manziel a media darling or a media machine?
Sam Bradford was the first quarterback selected with the number 1 pick.
Gotcha. And Tebow was selected 20-something, right, that year?
Tebow was... Hold on a second.
Was that the year?
He was not even the second quarterback selected.
No, but he was in that first round.
He was in the first round.
Towards the end, with Denver.
He was number 25. And yeah, he was the second quarterback selected.
And Bradford's done some work in the NFL, nothing fantastic. High expectations, in fact, very similar to Bortles in that sense. And waiting to see this untapped talent become, fantastic. Yet there's no media attention, at least not the level of media attention around those two guys, same way as been around Tebow, has been around Manziel. And my point about Manziel is the following. Why does the media just shut up, let the chips fall where they may with him, all right? And remember that he's got to be a quarterback first, not a story. Guys, I know what your job is. Remember? I know what it is. I know what it's about. I get it. But seriously, as much as I don't give a rat's ass if he gave a middle finger to the Redskins or the Dolphins or anybody, I also don't want to know so much about Manziel. I want to know more about other things. This is football season, ESPN. The other night, I went back to the room and I turned on the TV before I go to sleep. Is it ESPN News, right?
Yeah.
I could have sworn I saw the 24-yard run or whatever, the run that he did in that game 30 times before I fell asleep. There was this one story that would seem to come on every 16 minutes that played a loop of his video because he doesn't have a lot of highlights. So it'd be 3 highlights deep. The story's a few minutes long. You'd see it 8 times a damn run. And they'd come back 16 minutes later, you see another 8 times. Bro, take that time to talk about something else. Tell me something about Bortles. I got one better for you. You want to talk about a backup quarterback since you're so hung up on backup quarterbacks? Talk about Mark Sanchez. And apparently that this Kelly coach here has a way of developing quarterbacks. Because Foles looks like he's the real deal. Threading and shredding that Steelers defense the other night. And they bring in Sanchez. And I see his preseason numbers. It was like 80, what? Look at Sanchez's preseason numbers.
I'm going to. Hold on.
Just look at them. You notice I'm not looking anything up. I'm just going off of what I'm wanting to talk about. Look at Sanchez's preseason number. You want to talk about if you want to cover a sport, right? Instead of making it a freaking circus, because that's what the freaking media does, is make this crap a circus, unwatchable, unconsumable, which is why I don't care about preseason to begin with. And I'd probably care a little bit if they found a way to get off their lazy freaking asses and cover the right stories, the ones that are relevant to the local teams. Not the same crap about the same badass kid with a badass attitude. I don't care if he's got money. I don't care if he picks up chicks. I don't care if he hangs out with LeBron. He's a punk that can't throw the football, and we shouldn't give him so much damn time. Middle fingers or not. And it's not Manziel's fault, but honestly, take the middle finger and stick it up your ass. And when you're done, pop it out and give it to the media to lick. Because they're eating crap right now. They don't get what it is that they're supposed to be doing 2 weeks before the freaking season starts. Nonsense, the middle finger, I'm going to find. Que gana de comer mierda tienen esta gente. 954-990-0036. Did you look it up?
Yeah.
What's it at?
What are we looking at? His completions. So he's throwing 70% the first game, 91% the second game, 77% the third game.
Wait a minute. That's Mark Sanchez,
That's
the guy
Mark
who graduated from USC.
7 for 10 against Chicago. Against New England, went 11 for 12. Against Pittsburgh, 7 for 9.
You must be wondering, the guy who doesn't watch preseason, how the hell does he know that, huh?
Quarterback ratings, 93 against Chicago, 112 against New England, and against Pittsburgh, 106.
Larry, he's playing against the backups.
Wow.
But that's what preseason is. So you're celebrating a guy who can't complete 37% of his passes in preseason, right? But the guy as a backup, who you know he's not going to get the starting job because Foles is the starting quarterback, and you're watching him do this, you can't help but wonder if that brings up Sanchez's stock. Make that a story. Make that relevant. I got another relevant story for you. Talk about injuries and how that might affect the team. I'm sure they have segments of shows where they go over it. And the insiders go in and they give you the real deal about who's hurt and who's got a pulled hammy and who's been recovering in the offseason. Talk about that. To have to regurgitate the same nonsense about Johnny Manziel over and over and over and over again. He, in the grand scheme of things, is so irrelevant that the media is actually making him relevant, not his play.
That's what it is.
Blake Bortles is a backup. He's going to shred secondaries in the NFL because he's a damn good quarterback. Talk about him. Did you see what Matt Moore did the other day? Again?
No.
From the backup slot? Had a good game. Oh, well, Larry, it's preseason. Then either talk about it or don't talk about it. Don't waste my time with middle fingers and rhetoric. Talk to me about the game. Let me know about the things I need to know, whether it's from a fantasy football standpoint, from the standpoint of my team. Are they going to be good or are they going to suck this year? Football fans are engaging and ready to consume important information. Johnny Manziel's middle finger is not important information. And everyone involved has lost sight of it. From the Browns worrying about where he's partying and where he's not partying, to Johnny Manziel, instead of concentrating on doing what he's supposed to do, worried about what he's being told. In other words, he's got thin skin. It's not the first time we've seen him get rattled by something was told to him. And ultimately, on a Sunday when they're running around trying to knock his head off, that's going to play into all this. Like his Cleveland counterpart, he seems to me to be, a weak soul. Self-consumed. Attention whore. Kind of like his boy LeBron. That's why they're besties. That's why they get along so damn good. Tell me something that's important. Don't waste my time with bullcrap. 954-990-0036. Holy Toledo. Who cares? Who cares? And shame on the NFL for even wasting their time to find him. Who cares? Who gives a rat's ass, brother? Worry about the flags that your referees are throwing that are going to slow the pace of your game. They're going to stagger those games and make them harder to watch. A game that's on the forefront of that ADD 21st Century Society of Sports Fans that think baseball suck. Remember we said we were going to talk about baseball. Baseball sucks. We're going to talk about the 40,000 at the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I discovered when I left.
Right.
But we've got to be involved in a game that's supposed to be far different, yet there are people pulling the information down that it's not important or necessary to know. I don't care about Manziel. I just don't. Talk to me about the fight for the Jets job between Geno Smith and a guy like Michael Vick, who's done nothing but support him and mentor him because he knows that they're going to give him the start. He knows also he has to be ready in case he fails. And if he doesn't, he also knows that he's done his job nonetheless. Mike Vick at 34, consummate team player. Are you kidding? That's a story. Why aren't we talking about that? Why isn't that coming up whatsoever? That Michael Vick, who spent, by the way, his own fault, a few years in prison, which altered his career. A guy who's probably in the back end of his career, who probably needs an opportunity more so than anybody. Because, the clock is ticking. 2 minutes, 2 minutos, right? And instead of being self-consumed, Mike Vick of today, the 2014 Mike Vick, being a team player, encouraging Geno Smith, working with him to be better. understanding that he has to be good because he's a member of this team. And looking at it, if he's good, we're all good. And if he's bad, then I got to be ready to be good. But I'm not going to contribute to his failure. No, I'm going to try to contribute to his success, to our success. That's a freaking story. What the hell is wrong with these freaking hacks? I'm not going to start naming names because in this town there's a few of them. And the guys that they're so pompous with their nose in the air and their finger up their ass thinking that they're such badasses, right? And missing the point of what's important. But this is not a local level thing. This is a national level thing. Shame on them. They had a torch to carry that was important, developed by journalists of another generation. And sure, times change and things you have to change along with times. But the core of what your job is as a journalist should never change. I don't want to hear any more crap about Johnny Manziel. ESPN is shallow for doing it. Shame on them. All eyes on me, and they're just contributing to it. Why are we paying attention to this guy? Because he's Johnny Football? So let me get this straight. So when Jameis Winston comes to the NFL, like, is there going to be a media circus around him? Do you think there is?
I think so.
Why?
Because especially around this time, like you always see ESPN trying to fill time in, talking about all the other teams. We haven't heard about all the other teams this year.
It's all fine, and I don't mean to interrupt you. They fill time with a lot of stuff. You think that
a lot of it is gas bagging.
Okay, but do you think they're going to give the same amount of attention that they gave to a Tebow, that they've given to a Manziel, to a guy like Jameis Winston?
No, not that much.
I'm pulling the card out of my back pocket right now.
Not that much.
Of course not.
They're going to give him the attention, but not as high as them.
Of course not. You know when he gets attention?
When he commits a crime? When he steals crabs?
When he steals crabs. That's when he gets attention. I never pull a race card. You know that. You know I don't.
Mm-hmm.
But the lovable Christian, right? The cocky Texan, we love him. No, ESPN loves him. White America loves him. Funny how, and maybe I'm speculating, and this is one of those weird times where you hear me almost on a Jameis Winston side here. He's borderline illiterate, which we'll get into illiteracy also in the show, Floyd Mayweather. Winston sounds horrible when he speaks. He doesn't piece sentences together. He mispronounces every other word.
Those men looked me in my eye and they said, "We got this, Jameis." And I said, "Are you strong?" They said, "I'm strong if you strong." And I said, "We strong then."
We strong then. Whatever. I'm not even trying to make fun of him.
Guys, we didn't come here for no reason.
No reason.
I said,
We
guys,
didn't come here
ours,
for
man.
no reason. This is ours. We didn't come here for no reason. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Where their minds are, where their hearts are. Where their social morals are. Like think about everything that goes behind that. And maybe I'm taking it too far right upon when we come to break. But if he were a black quarterback, if he were an African-American quarterback, he wouldn't get this attention. No. No. Doesn't the media love the comeback story? Mike Vick's an African-American quarterback. Oh, but he committed a crime. Yeah. When he committed the crime, boy, did he he got all kinds of attention.
All over.
Now he's doing what he's supposed to the right way, like a true gentleman, like a true man, like a true team player. I don't like the Jets, but why am I talking about this? I can't remember ever pulling a race card. Johnny Manziel gets the attention he gets because he's a rich white boy from a place where white America likes, they love Texans. Everybody loves Texans. Everybody loves a Southern drawl or a Texas drawl. Everybody.
I'll help you with that race card. Look at Tiger Woods.
Absolutely slam him. Another guy I don't like.
But the only reason why he gets that attention is because
they kill
golf
him.
is used to the white man,
They kill
and
him.
he's the African American that plays golf.
But when he was riding it, you had to ride that story.
Oh, yep.
Because he was the game.
Mm-hmm.
I learned something this week about Tiger Woods. That's going to segue us into golf. But remember what I told you about Johnny Manziel. He gets the attention because he's the white boy from Texas. He's the fun story because he's a gunslinger. He's got no filters, right? But the African-American quarterback doesn't get that attention. Media screwed up, bro. Media is screwed up at every level. The sports media.
Mm-hmm.
Screwed up at every level. They have it so wrong. The clowns on radio have it so wrong. So wrong. You know, you've heard me complain. They don't mirror the market they're in. They don't mirror the market they're in, especially in this town. Forget this town, just generally. They make mistakes like this. I got to go to break. I've gone super long. When we come back, what did I table there? What did I say we were going to talk about?
Something you learned when you went out of town this week that you brought back?
Mm-hmm.
Chicago, Cubs, golf.
I just said it now. Testing you, see if you're listening.
Golf.
Something I learned about Tiger Woods.
Mm-hmm.
Something I learned about Tiger Woods. That's more golf talk, not the race card rhetoric. 954-990-0036. I promise to get into Canes football. We'll talk some NFL football as well. We will not talk about Johnny Manziel. We will not talk about Johnny Manziel. I'm not talking about him anymore. Is that okay with you? I mean, are you cool with that? I'm asking you. Cool
Yeah, I'm cool with that. You're gonna hate the little intro into the next segment.
No,
that I'm
you're more than welcome to. That's your job.
Okay.
To inspire these type of reactions from me.
But I'm cool with that. Just not gonna like it, but I'm cool with that.
But as far as it goes,
Heavy machine gun.
Yeah. I am absolutely blowing that out of the water, and we're never talking about that idiot again. All right, when we come back from break, we'll talk about golf. Did we talk about Robin Williams last week?
No.
I never brought it up, did I?
We never got to it. We talked about it pre-show.
Pre-show, and then I never
got to
brought it up.
Right.
I'm not sure I can tie it into sports.
Good morning, Vietnam!
But man, I love that man. I'm gonna miss him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna miss him. We'll talk golf. That stuff that I benched about baseball. Talk about a couple of experiences. I told you about the crowd at the game. I didn't tell you what happened before the game, who I was with before the game at the Yankee Stadium. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll take your calls, get into football, Canes Fest, Canes season. We touched on it in the first hour. We'll touch on it again. I didn't feel like having any guests today. I have a lot to say. I got a big mouth today. Got a big mouth. Hey, since we shoot LeBron a birdie every day on our video, you think the NFL is going to fine us?
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
Hey, South Florida. Frank Fernandez here from The Frank Fernandez Show, and I'm here to tell you about The Last Carrot in Coconut Grove. Now, I've been able to eat whatever I want all my life, and I've never had any consequences to think about. But now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to see the effects and the importance in having healthy foods. Well, The Last Carrot is the place to go for a healthy treat. They have a full smoothie bar with fruits which are cut right in front of your eyes. And have I said delicious? Man, I picked up a mango banana smoothie the other day, which was not only delicious, but refreshing with a boost of natural energy. The Last Carrot also offers a variety of fresh veggie sandwiches on whole wheat pitas, fresh salads, and spinach pies. The best part of it all, it's in the heart of the Grove. So after you have your meal, you can take a nice stroll and enjoy the shops of historic Coconut Grove. So come on down to The Last Carrot and don't forget to tell them Frank Fernandez sent you so you can receive that SoFlo Radio discount and have some good, healthy eating. The Last Carrot is located on 3133 Grand Avenue in Coconut Grove, Florida, 33133.
I am the voice of terrestrial radio. Internet radio will not succeed. You will continue listening to sports, right-wing talk, and mayonnaise FM. If you disobey, we will punish you with more right-wing talk, sports, and mayonnaise FM.
We are corporate, ergo, we are never wrong. Listen and obey. Listen and obey.
Shut it down, evil foe, for I am SoFloRadio.com, and I'm here to give back what people want to hear. A variety of entertainment, fresh music, comedy, and different points of view.
I own you.
Oh, your fart-radiating suit and tie don't frighten me, old chum. Behold the power of SoFloRadio.com.
My balls are falling off.
You only had one, my evil friend. There. Now you'll have to squat to pee. SoFloRadio.com. Castrating terrestrial radio. One ball at a time. We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this. Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man. You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try. That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more? SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
This is John Etch in the Sports Heads.
All the computer geeks are going crazy because they got the Windows 8 going on. Windows 8 sucks, and if anybody says it's good, is stupid. XP and 7's okay. XP is great. 8 is awful. And there's your tech talk. I almost grabbed the laptop and just slammed it against the ground. Oh, I wouldn't blame you.
Actually, it'll probably start working like that.
God.
Tuesday 7 to 9, Thursday 8 to 10.
John Edge and the Sports Heads.
On SoFloRadio.com.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Larry the Million. You are so old. You are so old.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Who invented the finger? Who invented the finger? Who was the first person to get so pissed at someone they were like, you know what? And it's like, you just make me, just look at my finger and you'll know, man.
KLF is gonna rock you.
That was good. The middle finger. 954-990-0036. 2006. Tiger Woods was the golfer of the year. What? PGA golfer of the year. I think he won, right?
Yeah, I believe that's what it was.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, you know what I looked up earlier?
What'd you look up?
I was looking up the best presidential golfers. So golf. Wait, did I say that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Golf Digest actually ranked them from 1 through 15. Do you want to hear this list real quick?
I gotta hear this.
All right. So
Wait,
I'll start
hold
off
on.
with the
Are you
bottom.
gonna start it from 15?
Yeah, of course.
Hold on. Let's get the right imaging here. Like if we're gonna do something like this, let's at least get it right. Go ahead. At 15.
15, we have Calvin Coolidge. At 14, Lyndon B. Johnson. At 13, Richard Nixon. At 12, Woodrow Wilson. At 11, we have William Howard Taft.
Hold on. So now we're going to top 10 here.
Top 10.
Top 10.
At number 10, Warren G. Harding.
At 9,
Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan.
Barely
number
walk.
9. Ronald Reagan, number 9. He didn't play often or well, but his best low scores were in the 90s. That's what it says.
That's news to
that's
me.
not me. Okay, so it's there.
That's news to me. That guy, whatever. Okay, number 8.
Number 8 is the man that you ranted about earlier in the show, Barack Obama.
At 7.
Bill Clinton.
He was a jogger more than he was anything else. At 6.
At 6, we have George W. Bush.
Okay, so now we're top 5, right?
Right.
Hold on. It's getting good now. At 5.
George H.W. Bush.
Dad beats son.
By 1.
By 1. Drama in the Bush house. At 4.
Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Hold on a second, bro. I know throughout all his presidencies, he wasn't in a wheelchair. But that one flips me. I guess when he walked, he played well or he played often. What does it say?
Well, he got polio at 39.
39.
So that's what they're saying. It robbed him from his golf swing. So before then, he used to play.
He was a player.
Right.
So what we're at? 4 now?
Top 3.
So hold on. Oh, boy. It's the top 3.
You want to try to start taking a guess on maybe who's on this list?
I'm telling you, I think I mentioned one of the names when I was going off on my tangent.
So number 3, Gerald Ford.
Okay. Number 2.
Dwight D. Eisenhower.
He was busy doing war stuff, wasn't he? Oh, okay. What else?
He had a green outside the Oval Office.
So it was Big Dan. And, hold on. The number 1.
Averaging a score of 80, John F. Kennedy.
Okay, there you go. I like that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I asked you for something in reference to that, and I appreciate it. So Frank gets an applause. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, no problem. You were going on your rant. I was looking for golfing presidents.
2006, Tiger Woods was Player of the Year. He earned a little over $10 million. You might want to check that if I'm accurate or not. In fact, as I talk, I want you to look up these two things. What were his earnings in 2006? And what were the average earnings of a golfer in this tour in 2006? Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to prove a point here. So we were on the whole tangent about Johnny Manziel, which I said I wasn't going to talk about anymore, and I won't. Tiger Woods, we like to bring him up from time to time, was as scintillating an athlete as we've seen in our time. And when I say scintillating, it's captivating. It is, he captures your attention. Like, for example, like him or not, do you remember when Mark McGwire was coming to the plate? Do you remember whether it was the year he hit the 70 or not? How sort of things stopped a little bit because you wanted to see this freak of nature hit the baseball.
Right.
Sort of happened with Barry Bonds too, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are people in sports that bring that type of stuff out. Jordan was that guy. Very much so. The world stopped for you to watch that, right? Soccer, it used to be Pele. You know, now I can't identify because I can't tell you it's Messi. I can't tell you it's right. Like, those guys now don't do that so much. But sports generally have every so often that guy. Tiger Woods in golf was that guy. Did you get the stats?
Yep.
All right. So what did Tiger earn in 2006?
$100 million.
No. I'm talking about golf earnings, not
sponsorships.
Yeah, I don't want any sponsorship dollars.
$13 million.
So I said $10 million. It was a little off.
Okay.
The next stat, if you have it, you're pretty good with that computer thing. The average, tour earnings of the average golfer in the 2006 tour.
$973,000.
So my numbers are pretty accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So for the sake of the argument, I was going to use $10 million, which is what I thought it was, and then $950,000 because I knew there was $950,000.
Mm-hmm.
So you could mathematically make the argument that Tiger Woods was 10 times better than the average golfer on the tour.
I see how you can do that.
Right?
Yep.
You know what Tiger Woods' stroke variance was that year?
No.
That's what differentiates one player to another. The variance. Look up what stroke variance is. That way we have an educated conversation about this, and I'll tell you why I'm going where I'm going with this. But not bad for the guy who doesn't have it in front of him, and I'm popping it off the top of my dome. You like that, huh?
Not bad.
I would actually try to challenge the 13 million. I really thought it was like 10.1 million. I really felt that was the number I saw. But regardless. So 13 million. The average golfer made 1 million. We're going to round it up. So you could make the argument then, actually, that he's 13 times better if I use your numbers, right?
Right.
Have you found out what the stroke variance means?
No, I'm trying to find the definition.
I mean, I can go ahead without making it a long, drawn-out thing, but I was hoping it was for the sake of the exercise so you'd understand what's going on. But Tiger was as dominant as anyone was in the game. In fact, he brought new eyes to golf. He brought the gallery where he plays and people follow his ass around. Remember?
Yeah. It was a big deal every week in and week out.
He was the game.
Mm-hmm.
He was the game.
Well, I mean, I would hear about golf because of him. Because now you don't hear about golf as much.
To this day.
Now Rory's kind of
I don't agree with you there. Rory, I'm not going to let you just say that because Rory's been really captivating as well.
Well, that's what I was saying right now. Like, now Rory's trying to pretty much getting golf back into the conversation. But when it was Tiger Woods...
A lot of good golfers out there. A lot of good golfers.
Yeah, but when it was Tiger Woods, it was every week. That's all you would hear. And to be honest, look, I'm not a golfer. I like playing miniature golf. At times I've gone with my godfather to go play golf. It's been a while since I've done it. But it's not a sport that I can just sit there on my television and watch.
I can. I've told you before.
To take
especially
naps,
Sunday,
great sport.
Nope. Especially on Sunday, I love it. I can watch.
Maybe if it's a final round and it's something very close, like a couple strokes, and it's one of the majors, maybe. But I'm not that person that can just sit there. I mean, we all have our likes and dislikes. But playing is fun. I've done it before. It's a hard sport. I'll tell you that much.
Well, I hope I'm not using the wrong term because I'm actually having a hard time finding it, as are you.
Okay.
But it's a percentage. And you know what I would like? Let's call Sandy. Tell Sandy to call in.
Put the bat signal up for Sandy.
I'm gonna give you his number. Give him a call. Tell him to come on. Give me the phone. He'd love this because he's usually the one who calls in. Give me the paper. I can give you his phone number. Stroke variance is the difference between one golfer or the other. So you know what the stroke variance was from the average golfer, not the person in second place. The average golfer who makes $1 million a year, right? To Tiger Woods, who that year made $13 million. And he owned the sport. Stroke variance was 4%. 4%. So those average golfers that made 13 times less than Tiger Woods, by definition of stroke variance, Tiger was 4% better than them. 4% better than them. Where am I going with this? Sometimes it comes down to, especially in sports, it comes down to executing at the right time. The ever-dreaded word clutch comes to play. But if you're a guy who puts in hard work, they're all great. All those guys are great. All those guys play golf at a very high level. It's not like the guy that hits $160 that's the backup shortstop, for the Mariners, opposed to the guy who's hitting .330 and leads the league in hitting. It's not like that. And even still in that sport with that variance, it's a smaller gap than you think. Okay? In golf, it's a hitch here, a hitch there. And apparently the average golfer who makes an average of $1 million a year in that year, 2006, opposed to Tiger, PGA Golfer Player of the Year, who made $13 million that year, right? The difference in those guys are 4%. So it's about putting in effort, right? It can't always be talent. It has to be talent and hard work. And when you do that, you deal with that in every sport. Tiger apparently put in that extra work and was that much better. So I saw that, and I found it to be funny because I'm going to talk golf, and we're going to get Sandy on now. But it's funny how when you relate it to other sports, isn't it always that guy who works harder than the next guy? Right? Oh, he works so hard. He's as good as he is because, man, he's the first one at the park, the last one to leave.
You hear it all the time.
All the time. It's all rhetoric. I mean, seriously, it's all bullcrap. It's not true, is it?
No, that's a lot of it's gas bagging. A lot of it is just analysis, quote unquote. Just trying to sound smarter than the next guy.
I know Tiger was a slave to working on his swing, and what the other guys aren't. Like they just got there because they're good at hitting the golf ball, and that's it.
No.
At that level, they're all working on their game. It's their job.
Mm-hmm.
A 4% variance is the difference that year between $1 million and $13 million. From being one of the guys to being a guy who changed the face of your sport. Do you understand now why guys like Hanley Ramirez upset me? Because they don't give you that effort and they don't put in that work. And they don't show the effort to make it important enough to do that. Because you made a statement earlier about Tiger. It's not the same, whatever. That's all perception. The game's better than ever now.
I didn't say it was better or worse.
No, and it's being watched too. That's the thing. And all this, I'm tying it into the freaking sports media again. We perceived Tiger to be 13 times better than the guys on the tour. That those guys never had a chance. That arrogance as Heat fans that we had when we knew, who's going to beat the Heat? Who's going to beat the Heat? What was I used to say? Who can beat the Heat in a 7-game series? Like that cockiness. Like, are you kidding? What are the odds of that?
Right.
That's all media perception. We don't know crap about that. We're watching it with our naked eyes. We know what we're seeing. We understand they're better. But to maintain better, that takes hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets overshadowed because the media glosses things over as they deem appropriate. So they gave him all that, I'm telling you, all that oral fellatio. I'm going to say it. They blew him till kingdom come. And so did the king, the Tiger. And when he finished the last time and won a major, and it's been a long time since, now it's been about ragging on the guy. Is he ever going to win it again? No, I've taken to ragging on him because I personally am not in love with him. I don't think the best. But never escaping from us that he's the greatest golfer of all time. And actually, I should say I'm as guilty of it as anyone else with him particularly because I've been tough on him. 4% stroke variance from the average golfer to Tiger. And that year, he owned the game, and everybody perceived he was not 10 times, not 13, 100 times better than anybody else he was playing. Tiger, on Sunday, you seen that video, that guy that does that? Yeah. What a perception. And there's so many misnomers of that the media is responsible for. Sandy, what's going on, brother?
How are you, sir?
I'm all right. I call upon your services, and I appreciate you giving me a couple minutes. In fact, I really don't give a rat's ass about the top of the hour if we go long, because I learned something this week about Tiger Woods in 2006. I don't know if you were listening or not. Sometimes you are, sometimes you're not. But in 2006, Tiger Woods was, PGA Golfer of the Year, Player of the Year, whatever they call it in golf. And his earnings in golf that year were $13 million, which, by the way, I didn't hit the other part of this that I'll hit at the end of this, Frank, which was the first number you gave me about his earnings that year.
100 million?
Right. So because of that 4% variance, not only was he 13 times better in earnings, but then he was able to get the endorsements to have him make $100 million opposed to the $1 million that is made by the average golfer. So I pointed out, Sandy, that he earned $13 million that year. The average golfer on the PGA Tour in 2006 earned just a horse's hair under $1 million a year. It's like $950,000. So does that make Tiger 13 times better than them? And I pointed out that year, we're using numbers. Stroke, am I saying it correct? The stroke variance, is that the correct terminology?
Generally, it is.
Okay. The variance was a 4% between not the guy next to him, next best, The same average PGA golfer at $950 a year, the stroke variance between that guy and Tiger, $13 million a year, was 4%. Can you explain the stroke variance to me, first of all, which is one of the reasons, and then I wanted to bring upon the thoughts of sports, something that I brought up in my last segment, which you're also perfect to comment on. But please explain to me stroke variance.
Here's the thing with Tiger, and when you try to put it in terms of is he that much better than everybody, there were times, and I'm going to go to this. When Rory was winning a couple of weeks ago, and it's something that struck me. They were talking about some of Tiger's wins in his heyday, and they were making the comparison. And isn't it interesting with Tiger? I use the term heyday. Rory's beating a field now that is pretty good. We've seen a wave of players coming on now. We've seen younger guys that are coming post-Tiger that don't have that degree of intimidation that Tiger had that advantage during his earlier years. So Rory's having to beat those guys. He's having to beat some guy. I hesitate to use the term rejuvenated, but certainly Phil's been playing sporadic but really good when he's good. And even Ernie's played well. When you're talking about stroke variance, here's the thing. Yeah, I can almost credit Tiger with being that much better back then, because when you have to win a tournament and you're beating Bob May, or you're beating Chris DeMarco, or you're beating Rocco Mediate, when these are the guys you're having to beat to win a major, yeah, you may be just that much better than everybody else. And I heard you talking about work ethic, and that's always an interesting thing, because one thing I've never taken from Tiger is his focus or his work ethic. And there were other guys at that time, and I will tell you somebody whose work ethic was legendary, maybe as good or better than Tiger's, and that was Vijay Singh. The stories of Vijay sitting on a driving range, sitting there hitting balls till his palms were bloody. Okay, there were a lot of guys at that time that not only had a career great work ethic, but they had to up it just to stay in the game with Tiger. And Vijay was one of those guys. Golf historically has had players like that. Ben Hogan, who I personally think was the second greatest player in the history of the game behind Nicklaus, and certainly the greatest American ball striker in the history of the game, period, had that kind of a work ethic. Ungodly, something you can't even describe in words. And again, that focus. And I'll tell you, my early comparisons with Tiger were to Ben Hogan in terms of work ethic, in terms of focus. He reminded me most of Hogan, even more so than Nicklaus or any other player I had ever seen. But then again, you had those guys, and I'm going to go to the antithesis of that. In the old days, you had guys like Jimmy DeMeritt. Okay, DeMeritt, I mean, you're talking a guy that won 3 Masters among his majors. And you know what? He was a party animal. He liked to go out. He was a nightclub singer. He did stand-up comedy act. Some guys can do that. Some guys, it becomes part of their persona. One guy who's extremely talented, but you know what? He's a major disappointment for me, is Anthony Kim. Anthony Kim, and you may remember some years ago when I went to the Masters and you had me calling in, and I made a joke about Anthony Kim because I got there early in the morning, and there he was 5:00. Well, was Anthony Kim coming in because he was so focused on the tournament, or was Anthony Kim coming in because the club had just closed? It was one of those kind of deals. But at that point, and that competition in Tiger's career, yeah, I could almost say, looking at the field of guys that he had to beat, and it was certainly a transition period in golf. Okay, he was very gifted in that he came along at a period when the old guard was beginning to fade and retire, and this bunch that's come along in the last 4 or 5 years hadn't gotten there yet. It was perfect timing, and as far as my criticism of Tiger's concerned, as far as him not having strong competition for his career, yes, I stand by that. But I also say that it certainly wasn't his fault. It just happened to be the way the cards fell.
So the stroke variance then is, from a mathematical standpoint, isn't it your average 18 holes?
Yeah, it's saber golf, Larry.
Right.
It's just like in baseball. You're going saber golf here.
So it's all statistical. Yet,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you can't bring. And then what I brought up to Frank was, don't put it aside. Take the $13 million. His earnings that year, including endorsements, were over $100 million.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the 4 points on that stroke variance were the difference between getting sponsorship dollars and not getting sponsorship dollars. And the point I'm trying to make is, in many sports, and golf being one of them, because golf gets accused of being boring, and this is why I brought you on, because Frank he fell into the trap and made the statement I wanted him to make. I enjoy watching, especially Sunday golf. I really do. You're going to be proud to hear that I have a 4:00 golf lesson today.
Huh.
All right.
Wow.
I'm going to go hack away. Yeah. That's about time that every other sport that I can figure out, if I had to play you in tennis, I could play you 3 sets in tennis, win or lose. All right.
Well, the question is, why do you wait till you're 50 years old, almost,
45,
to torture
settle
yourself,
down, and
like you were going to do now?
And I tried this once where I tortured myself, threw my clubs in the lake at Shula's, and walked off and said, I'm done. After 2 years of being diligent, doing afternoons at par 9s to learn how to hit my irons, which I hit better than my woods, right? And no, none of that crap. I mean, I couldn't break 100, Sandy. I've told you the story before. I couldn't break 100. It is one of my crosses to bear. It's on my bucket list. It's up there with salsa. I can dance some salsa. I don't want to dance some salsa. I want to dance like these guys on Dancing with the Stars. That's how I want to dance salsa before I die. And that's on my bucket list. I want to jump off a plane. I want to go to every baseball stadium in America. All right? And and the final one is I want to meet Derek Jeter. That's it.
Well, it's funny you say that, because a few years back, they asked Jimmy Palmer, hey, post baseball, what are you doing? And he says, I can't entertain myself. He goes, I learned the lambada, I drove a Miata. He goes, there's nothing, I can't keep myself entertained. So he says, you know what? I started playing more golf, and I just made myself miserable and resigned myself to it. And it sounds like what you're looking to do here.
Yeah.
But let me make a statement, though. That some of the saber golf statistics that come up, the one thing that they can't factor in, and this is really important, okay, really important when you bring the subject up, they can make comparisons between players. They can do the numbers on certain courses being this length and all those kind of things. The one intangible that they can't touch is the way the equipment and the courses changed over the years. And remember, players back in the 40s, 50s, even all the way up into the 70s, were dealing with courses that were designed to copy a lot of the old courses in Scotland. And in its day, part of Pebble Beach was designed that way, and it was designed by a Scotsman. And here was the way that course would play. If you were a novice player, you would be intimidated by the course on looks. If you were an intermediate player, you would be cocky enough to think you could conquer the course based on the way it played. If you were an experienced player and a very outstanding player, you would look at the course and you would say, I can beat this course. But you would be smart enough to know therein lie the danger. No, I can't. This is deceiving me, and I have to play this course like it is deceiving me, because the appearance is not what I'm going to face. So the course could be three different things to three different level players. And that's one of the things. So when you start talking saber golf, it doesn't take in those nuances. And those nuances, let's face it, that's what makes up golf. I mean, remember, pre-19, I think it was 47, 48, a player, if he did not want to be a gentleman, did not have to mark his ball. Okay? He could leave his ball where it played on the green. And guys like Snead and Hogan and Lloyd Mangrum and Kerry Middlecoff, they had to learn not only to putt, but they had to learn to chip over a ball in front of them if necessary. And that's one of the things that modern people of golf don't understand, that was part of that game at that time. Okay, you had to be able to hit those kind of shots. Now, most guys marked their ball, but it was an option
That's
that
wild.
you didn't have to.
I didn't know that.
And
man.
let me give you another thing here. Okay,
Quickly, 'cause
in
I gotta go
terms
to
of
break.
not saber in terms of players,
right,
but in terms of statistics and the game itself in terms of the numbers. Okay, back in the 80s, mid to late 80s, USA Golf said, you know what, we're not going to treat the U.S. Amateur and the British Amateur as majors anymore. Keep in mind, that was the reason that if you watched Nicklaus back in the late 70s, you would see him with as many majors as he retired with. They said, you know what, we're going to go back in history, we're going to change this, and everybody who won the U.S. Amateur or the British Amateur, we're not going to count those. And they didn't. At one point, Nicklaus had 20 majors, but because his two U.S. Amateurs were taken away, and when I use the term take away, that's a little strong,
right,
but they decided not to recognize those as part of modern majors anymore.
I didn't know
so
that.
He actually went from 20 to 18. And what's strange about that is, and certainly Tiger wasn't even around when this decision was made, but if they hadn't done that, Tiger's 3 U.S. amateurs would actually put him one major closer.
One major closer.
But all those guys had those particular majors taken away. Now, we recognize Bobby Jones for all of his U.S. amateur championships and all of that. But that was, when we talk about changes in sports with regard to numbers, that was one of the interesting things that golf did. Because they said, you know, we've got guys that win the U.S. amateur, the British amateur every year, and we're not going to count those as majors.
Hey, bro, I got to let you.
Majors in golf are a funny thing, Larry, because
Sandy, I got to let you go because I got to go to break. I went too long. I know I said I was going to go over. I do appreciate the explanation because the point I was trying to make was, you know what? At that level, they're pretty darn close. And it does come down to that little extra work. It does come down to having.
Oh, absolutely does.
And I think it's an amazing statistic to point out the difference. That 4% was the difference between $1 million and $100 million in 2006.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I'm going to let you run. I'm going to talk all football the next hour. I appreciate it. One last thing before I let you go. I know you're happy about your Orioles. Don't you ever forget.
I'm very happy.
Don't you ever forget that before the Baltimore Orioles or the Major League Baltimore Orioles, they were the New York Yankees, my friend.
Long live Orlando Pena.
See you, brother.
All
right, man. Let's go to break. That went long. I didn't mean for it to, but Sandy has some good stuff on golf I wanted to hit on. Everything golf after this. Everything football after this short break from now to the end of the show. The Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
At the Miami Princess Hotel, you are free to unlock the secrets of your imagination in one of our 8 exotic theme rooms, each designed to enhance your pleasure and provide a one-of-a-kind getaway experience with your loved one. A unique and treasured retreat nestled in the heart of the city, close to I-95 and the airport in Miami at 4251 Northwest 11th Street. Miami Princess Hotel provides theme rooms with 45-inch TVs, state-of-the-art sound systems, and jacuzzis. Give them a call, 305-441-1862.
By the Glass.
By the Glass is a show about beverage culture.
Brad Hubbard.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the dots on how everything works together. It's really all about how we enjoy things, how we enjoy life, and how beverages play a big part in that. I'm going to bring in people that are going to display their aspect of the culture. I'm going to bring in people that are going to show you different products. We're going to look at places where people go to consume these beverages and how they all interact. Things are built around the actual beverage itself.
By the Glass. Thursdays from 6 to 7. Only on SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com is the exclusive radio home of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers Football Club. Listen for every corner kick, penalty kick, save, and goal on SoFloRadio.com.
To Anderson, the save. Whoa, the save by Gorick, but the putback by Darnell King. And the Strikers are up 2-0.
Silverman on Sports host Bruce Silverman brings you the play-by-play. SoFloRadio.com, bringing you every Striker home game, starting live at 7:30. SoFlo Radio. Talk, music, sports. SoFloRadio.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com. Entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
My name's Noah J. Bird. Noah J. Bird? Oh, you like to fly. What's your name, baby? They call me Soul Baby. Soul Baby? Yeah. Keep it in control, baby. Tears, no fears, man. Oh, is that right? Respect it, don't neglect it. All right, my brother. Treat it, don't beat it, man. All right, baby.
On SoFloRadio.com.
You're a badass mother.
All right, went a little long, 11:13. Wanted that full hour of football, but I just wanted to make a point. 954-990-0036. Haven't heard from 3 time today. I hope he doesn't call. Hell with him. I don't want to hear from him today. I really don't know how I'm doing this right now. Do you understand what time I went to sleep last night?
I can only imagine. To be honest with you, I thought I was going to have to start the show today. I was already getting ready.
You almost had to do the whole show. 5:30, bro. I went to bed at 5:30. Wow. Yeah. So, it is what it is. 954-990-0036. Some football news throughout the week. Braxton Miller's out for the season. I'm supposed to laugh at someone getting hurt. That's not nice. I'm really not. I don't know why I do that. I really don't understand why I do that. That's not very nice.
I laugh because Urban Meyer's season now goes down the drain.
Dude, have you seen the guy on YouTube, the psst guy?
The psst guy?
No, he looks up some people. Psst. Oh, I'm going to show you the video on the break.
Okay.
I want to talk football. I don't want to get into that. So, yeah, apparently Braxton Miller re-injures his shoulder, and now it's a season-ending injury. So now we get to see whether or not Mr. Urban Meyer can coach.
Yep, we will see.
I'm going to find out if he can coach, which, by the way, talking about wondering where someone can coach or not, the other day, Mike Francesa, you know who Mike Francesa is?
Mm-hmm.
Sports radio host down
up
in New York. He's talking about John Calipari from Kentucky. Talking about how he's a great motivator, you know, to motivate kids, but that he wasn't a good X's and O's coach. So Calipari called the show. They argued a little bit. And in true Francesa fashion, he hung up on him. I hate that guy. The guy's awful. In other news, talking about injuries, Louisville Star reporting that wide receiver Devontae Parker was hurt during practice yesterday. I don't think anything has come from this yet, although immediately I'm getting the information here that he injured his foot. They're going to evaluate. There is no timetable, which makes you think he's going to have a hard time being ready for Labor Day night against the Canes.
He tweeted that he was fine, but they're going to send him to a specialist.
Oh, he's fine. Of course he is. What else is he going to tweet? It's hurting me. It's purple and I can't move it. I'm not going to say that. Last week, I wasn't around. What's been the buzz around the Miami Dolphins, Frank? I must have.
What buzz?
I must have missed
What
something.
buzz? What buzz?
I mean, the only buzz around the Dolphins is the one with the butt cheeks, you know, they kind of vibrate and create that sound when you fart. Because other than that buzz, there's nothing.
The biggest buzz in football in South Florida is this right here. That's the biggest buzz in South Florida.
I watched, there was one story, one thing about the Dolphins I saw this week.
No, Sean might play today. That's it. That's it, because even running through their page on Bleacher Report, I couldn't find much. There's so much to report.
They've done nothing.
Nothing. Coach says that Wallace, he's not worried about Wallace and Tannehill's deep connection. Come on.
We're still talking about that 2 years later. Right?
Yes.
That means that they're not connecting.
No, they're not.
You know why, right? Because you got two wide receivers playing catch. Coño.
Good point.
The Dolphins, I tell you, bro. What a disaster. Shout out to my boy, Orlando Alzagari, the big O, as he makes his move from Radio Purgatory to 560 WQAM. Congratulations to you, big O. Now, you get to do stuff related to the Dolphins, even though they're not the flagship, but you're going to be the centerpiece guy about the Dolphins. You've always been tough on the Miami Dolphins. I hope you remain tough on the Miami Dolphins. Knowing you and the class act that you are, you will stick to your guns and you will not be swayed by the evil empire that is the Miami Dolphins. Don't you hear the evilness in that squeak?
Michael Egnew was released.
So there's your Dolphins news right there. We have to have like a breaking news sound. Like, oh, we got breaking news, right? Maybe it's one of those. How irrelevant a team. Like, I want to talk football, so you got to start locally and then go nationally. Like,
right.
People don't want to hear me talk about the Jets and their quarterback competition. They don't want to hear me talk about Eli Manning and the Giants. And they'll say, oh, Larry, you just came from New York. That's why you're talking about that. Hey, Eli couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. He is having the worst time with the new offense.
And they want him to go 70%.
How about trying to understand the offense first? Seems to be struggling with it. That's a scary thought, though. Unbelievable. So, fantasy football leagues around the country starting to do their drafts. Everybody's stoked.
What's a realistic amount of leagues to be a part of? Because I found myself in like 8 leagues this season.
That's too many.
That's too many. There's 2 that I'm taking serious, and I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna be in 2.
I think the number's 2. If you're a real head, so I'll give you the 2 to 4 variance. Variance is the word of the day.
I think I got automatically registered in all these other leagues because before I knew it, I had 6 different emails with different leagues that I've said I've already drafted. I didn't draft.
I can't get over it, bro. They're awful, bro. Canes Fest today is more important, relevant. Although I heard Jason Taylor had a nice event the other night for the Dolphins. Of course, trying to encourage people to spend money on a product that sucks. But anyway. Like, I think if Jason said he'd come back to play one more year, they could sell season tickets.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because other than that, there's nobody on that team that stands out.
Nope.
Like, not their wide receivers.
There's no stud.
Because you got to figure, like, who are their wide receivers this year? Let's think about it. They have
Mike Wallace.
Daniel Gibson.
Brian Hartline.
Didn't they draft this kid from LSU? How's he doing?
Well, he's doing actually good. Landry, right?
Landry.
Yeah, he's doing very well.
And then, of course, you have Tannehill. At the running back position.
Got Moreno and Lamar Miller.
That flew right over your head. You didn't even catch it, did you? We were listing wide receivers, and I listed Tannehill. That was...
They go over my head.
I'm going to rag on them talking like they're going to be my whooping boys this year. It's the only way I can actually relate the stress that comes with being a Dolphin fan.
Wow.
Talking to my boys in Morristown, we're talking about, and I'm watching the Steelers, so I'm like happy watching the Steelers. You know the Steelers are my other team. Oh, boy.
Got a couple potheads on that team.
Boy. Yep, they like the fire. These guys are idiots, bro. You got an NFL career. Can you wait to smoke the Dak till when you're done playing football? Because obviously they don't want you doing that if you're playing.
Really got caught with 20 grams. 20 grams. A bag of 20 grams. So the discussion, not to plug people, but on Joe Rose's show today, he started asking how many.
Yesterday,
how many? I think it was Thursday.
Okay.
All right. So he started asking how many joints can a 20-gram bag roll you? And he said about 40. That just puts into perspective of how many there were in there.
Yeah, it was a party in there.
Wow.
A potential party in there.
But they were on the way to the airport, so they were going to take this on the airplane.
Now that's funny. When I heard that, I'm like, well, where were you going to put it?
They were going to take it on the airplane, so then they can smoke it in, where'd they play, in Philly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do a little weed. Holy mackerel. So, correct, they got pulled over? Is that what it was?
Yeah, they got pulled over on the way to the airport.
Right. So then on top of having 20 grams of this stuff in your car, then you don't have the presence of mind to at least drive correctly. Bro, they're stupid, bro.
Bell was the one that was giving the blood.
That's when stupid meets dumb right there.
Yeah, Bell's the one that got the blood work done, and he was the one that was under the influence. Look at the other guy's name, Blunt.
It's
he got held, and then he just got released. Blunt.
Oh, I can't even talk serious football. I still can't. Oh. Blunt and Bong hits Bell. I'm watching this game, and the rest of the defense looks stoned as the freaking Eagles shredded them. And I thought to myself as I watched the game intently, right? And I gotta be honest, it wasn't like I was thinking about you, Frank. I don't want you to take it that way because I wasn't. But I was thinking of what I had said to you in reference to being totally disinterested in preseason football. Okay? The place where I was at in Morristown that day, they had 3 screens going. They had golf. They had this guy from the Angels, Shoemaker, throwing a no-hitter in the 7th.
Right.
And the Steelers were getting their asses kicked by the Eagles. And I gave, and as much as I say I don't watch preseason football, I gave the football game as much time as I gave the no-hitter. And I was pretty surprised. I caught myself justifying it by saying, well, it's the 3rd game of the preseason. This is when they play the most. It's the closest thing to sound or looking like a real game for them. So I wanted to watch it. And furthermore, upon watching the Steelers play like the Keystone Cops, I realized that both of my teams are a joke this year. And it's going to be a long season. So I can't be hopping teams around. I'm gonna have to take it like a man. So I chose to play on your conversation of fantasy football that I will be involved in more leagues this year. I have the one I run, which I do as a free league, by the way. I have a small number buy-in, and I'm looking for a bigger one. But I get invited here and there, and where I have trouble is it's impossible if you love playing fantasy football to always play in leagues with people you know.
Mm.
It's tough. Sometimes you're going to play in a league with somebody. And my experience in the past has been that when you play in a league with certain people that you don't know, you tend to have problems with them. Because through their websites, the chat boards, they say stupid things. Then I got to go threaten them. I'm going to beat the crap out of them. And then it gets ugly. It gets stupid. I'm a little aggressive sometimes,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to kind of tailor it to where I can play in more leagues, but the leagues that I play in are leagues with people that I know. So I've got the one I'm doing. I've got the one I got invited to with my boys. And I'm opening myself up to 2 more. So if you're one of those guys that plays fantasy, please do me a favor. If you want me to play, I'd love to play. I'll pay right up front. I don't care. This is the year I want to do it. I'll usually take at least one of the leagues and play them with, This will be his 3rd year of fantasy football.
Hey, you told me he's pretty good, right?
To the finals last year.
I think I'm gonna have to call him to
That's
consult
crazy.
my team.
That's crazy. The first year I helped him along.
Okay.
Ultimately allowing him to make decisions. And started doing that last year. And when I lost him a couple of games with suggestions, like I would say, I think you should do this. Dad, I want to do this. Papi, don't be dumb. And he lost. He looked at me and said, no, Papi. I love you. Play your team. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And
You do you, Dad.
And I did me and didn't make the finals, and he did him and
Wow.
went to the finals. So that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
I remind listeners, in case they don't know, my son is 9 years old. So last year he was 8 when we were going through this. I don't know. It's gotten to a point with him, Papi, who's the guy that plays? He knows their names. When I forget a name, I ask him, he tells me who they are. Scary. So it's that time of year. Give me a call. Let me know, who's the must-get guy. Everybody knows who the top 3 picks are. Those are the easy ones. That's not a discussion thing. Who's that must-get guy that you get in the middle of the first round? Let's say you pick that number out of a hat of a 12-team league, and you get 6. You're in the middle. Or you get 8 or 10. And when you come back around, you're going to get 12 or 14 on the other side around. Who are those guys in the top 15 that make sense, that can make a difference on your team? Not 1, 2, 3. Not even 1, 2, 3, 4. But who are those guys? I mean, years past, it was you don't go with wide receivers. Nowadays, if wide receivers make 100 catches, they'll make it. I mean, last year, my wide receivers saved my ass.
Yeah, the trick now is not even go running backs. That used
So
to be
running
the
backs
trick
are
back in
gone.
the day.
There's no
Gone.
need. The game's changed. So running backs are a waste of time.
If you don't get one from the top 5, I think Eddie Lacy's number 5. Don't even bother.
It's quarterbacks.
Then receivers, tight ends,
kickers, and defense.
And speaking about tight ends, I think I would go with Jimmy Graham 6th or 7th.
So Graham's one of those guys that you'd have to absolutely just go bananas with it.
Bro, I'm doing a keeper league this year, and the dude kept him. It was him or Peyton Manning, and he said, you know what, I'll find another quarterback. I have to keep Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham was scoring 40 points a game last year.
Interesting. What time are you getting at Canes Fest today?
I'm getting there at 2:30, tailgating.
Yeah, tempranito.
Yeah, man. Getting there tailgating, maybe walking about 4 or 4:30. I don't know about getting in line for players. Maybe 1 or 2, but I don't know about that. I do want to take a tour of the locker room, though. Brand new Schwartz Center.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time they do it out there in Green Tree.
It's going to be nice.
It's a new field, too, so you can check that out.
I've seen that already. Though.
I don't know how I feel about doing it outside, though.
Well,
I hate the Miami Heat.
It's 92 degrees, so
exactly.
It's a little tough.
I'm not wearing this jersey. This is a thick jersey.
I was going to say.
I'm telling you, no way.
That'd be very tough.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it when it was inside of the Buck.
It was always fun in there.
But I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it is. I know they want to show off the new facilities and stuff like that. So
granted, and rightfully so.
Right. But I'm looking forward to going. It's the kickoff party of football. Next week we actually have football, so this is good. It feels good. I woke up excited today.
We're gonna get our asses kicked by Louisville, aren't we?
Nope, I don't think so.
Somebody who was with me this week in training from Louisville convinced me that the Canes have no chance in this game.
Why is everybody resulting this result on last year's bowl game?
And I understand that they're missing, obviously, Teddy Bridgewater, and I think one of their receivers is gone now. Is that correct? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, and the guy that just got hurt also.
And the guy who just got hurt now, so
Right.
that kind of depletes them a bit.
It's a new defense.
Mhm.
They lost. I think 5.
New
something
coaching
like
staff.
that. New coaching staff.
Mhm.
You have the head coach and the defensive coordinator bumping heads.
So it's basically an unknown.
It's an unknown, but I think we're gonna
Because
be
there's so many variables, there's an unknown. And I think that one of the unknown variables is the fact that no one knows what they're going to get from Stacey Coley and Philip Dorsett. And I know what we're going to get from Philip Dorsett and Stacey Coley.
We also had no Duke last year.
And no Duke last year.
And no Dorsett.
No Dorsett when we played that game.
So, we had weapons
No,
of ours.
Dorsett played that game.
I thought Dorsett was hurt.
He came back, though.
I don't remember.
Sure. We didn't have Duke, but we had
No
Dorsett in
Duke.
that game.
So, we didn't have some weapons that make a big deal. Duke makes a huge deal. You have the game plan just around Duke.
Quarterback.
I go with Kaya. I've been.
Don't we find out Monday?
We do. We should find out Monday. I've been back and forth with this man for about 3 weeks. I'm finally convinced. I start Kaya.
Why?
If the senior and the freshman are even going in, start the freshman. This kid's showing more maturity than any freshman ever. Start the freshman.
I've been telling you I want to see the senior play.
I know. But there's also there's a reason why this is his third team. There's a reason why he left BYU to Kansas, then Kansas to Miami.
A lot of this decision is going to have to do with the fact of how players react to Kaya. It's firmly believed that if these players are buying into Kaya's leadership, it's a no-brainer to start him.
And that's the word.
And that's what I've been hearing.
Yes.
So despite what I've said and what I feel, and at that level, being 18 and being 22 is different.
Uh-huh.
Which is why I'd like to see the senior start.
Right, of course. I understand that part.
That's where I come from with that.
Yeah, I get that part.
It's different in the NFL where, you have 4 more years experience and the guy doesn't play into it. Here, it's the fact that it's 18 and 22, and there is a difference. It's not like the difference between 14 and 18, but there is a difference between 18 and 22. And the speed of the game, that guy's been seeing it, good, bad, or indifferent, for longer than Kaya. But if the team and the players are buying into, forget philosophy, he's 18, doesn't have a philosophy, or buying into his leadership qualities, if they believe he can lead them and they believe he can be molded to the system, then he's going to be their choice. I got a funny feeling they're going to go with Kaya.
Yeah. You also heard that, I don't know how much Kane's news you heard in New York,
None.
but Heaps sat out in the scrimmage on Monday.
Oh, I did hear that.
So
I
with the
absolutely
sore
did,
arm,
yeah. Mhm.
The word was that he came back on Wednesday because I think Tuesday was an off day. So they
He
came
did
back
come
on
back on
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
and
This
Coley
stuff-
said it was
this
great.
stuff I heard. I'm sorry.
Coley said it was great.
Mm.
But
What else is Coley going to say?
Right. But come on, is that a little concerning already in camp with the sore arm? You have to sit out?
Wouldn't concern me because if that's what's going on, then I know who I'm starting. As much as I've advocated for the senior, it's got to be healthy.
This is where the mixed reports were coming out because some were reporting the reason why he sat out was because he had already won the job, and others weren't reporting that. Golden
gonna
said,
be interesting.
Golden came out and said there's no quarterback yet decided.
954-990-0036. We ragged on the Dolphins. We propped up the Canes. Talked fantasy football. I'm not breaking down defensive ends in the NFC Central. Sorry, it's not happening. When we come back from break, I haven't forgotten you baseball fans. We'll talk a little bit of baseball as we ride off into the sunset right here on the Amigo Show, SoFloRadio.com.
From high atop 1926 Hollywood Boulevard, you're listening to SoFloRadio.com.
The Amigo Show would like to thank the law offices of Hockman and Golden, PA at www.ticketlawfirm.com. Both attorneys, Sonny Golden and Scott Hockman, are graduates of the U, both undergrad and law school. Celebrating 20 years of helping drivers with traffic-related incidents, speeding tickets, red light camera violations, accidents. 305-665-1000 or ticketlawfirm.com.
We asked this gentleman to participate in our radio taste test challenge. On one table, terrestrial radio. On the other, SoFloRadio.com. Do you have your blindfold on?
Yes.
Try a bite of this.
Oh, God, that's awful. Tastes like the soiled briefs of a lonely fat man.
You just had a taste of all sports and corporate-backed right-wing assassin talk radio. Now give this a try.
That's gotta be SoFloRadio.com.
entertaining, funny, informative. I love it. Can I have more?
SoFloRadio.com. A full plate of delicious entertainment.
Welcome to the Moses Love Hour, filled with friends, live music, and conscious living. Take some time and come on the adventures aboard Mission Control. From the I Love Yoga studios in Dania Beach, Florida, USA. Streaming live Sunday nights from 9 to 10 on SoFloRadio.com.
Hi, this is Boca, and I'm not a tranny, but I do play one on radio. Here's my before picture, and here's my after picture. And I owe it all to Luis the Artiste and his new outstanding weight loss program, the Powwow.
You are listening to The Amigo Show with Larry, the Amigo Million.
Hi, I'm looking for Ray Finkel and a clean pair of shorts.
On SoFloRadio.com.
Soccer style kicker, graduated from Collier High, June 1976. Stetson University honors graduate, class of 1980. Holds 2 NCAA Division I records, one for most points in a season, one for distance. Former nicknamed the Mule, the first and only pro athlete ever to come out of Collier County, and one hell of a model American.
My heart up when the rest of me is down. You enchant me even when you're not around.
I asked Frank to play this song. This song was a hit way before I left to New York. This song was a hit when I went to New York for 4th of July with the family. You know how you attribute music to things and moments in your life?
Yeah.
So, born and raised in New York, been there 100 times. This song will forever remind me of New York. It's a place called Rooftop Bar. We did the whole Times Square thing. And we go to end our night. This place is near Penn Station. Waiting for a friend so we could all take the train back to Jersey. And I think I said this earlier in the show. He walked up and the view... Should post it. I'm not using social media a lot lately. The view was this one, my friend. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
You walked up, right? You walk up the steps and you come to an outside roof area that is directly in front of the Empire State Building, lit up at night.
Wow.
Like if it looked like the Empire State Building was across the street. It was a lounge with outside, like had it been in Miami, like that would have been the most happening place. It was just a lounge. It was a Wednesday. And it was pretty full. And I was told by someone there, one of the bouncers, because of course I talk to everybody. Oh my God, I don't shut up.
You're the Amigo for a reason.
And he says, "Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. You should see this place on the weekends." And my understanding is it's like selective. It's like the snooty clubs.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently in New York, they're a dime a dozen. But I was overwhelmed by the view. It was beautiful. So that song will forever remind me of New York. Couple of trips. I'm going back next month. What's going on with me?
I don't know. You tell me. Another Yankee game, I'm sure.
Oh, 2 of them, actually.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to leave early.
Yo, this
Try to
guy.
catch Friday and Saturday.
This guy.
So, needless to say, I got to see the roll call Yankee Stadium, and that was a lot of fun. He went 0 for 4 again on my watch, dude. I'm starting to wonder if I'm jinxing him. So, going back 3 games now, Jeter's 0 for his last 13 in games attended by me. That's what it was like. I love that roll call. That's so much fun. Oh, I saw the cowbell dude, bro.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, they do it in the middle of the game. Oh! Yes! That's crazy. When I went the first time with my family, the cowbell guy wasn't there.
I mean, you missed everybody that first time.
Yeah,
Vinny,
that was almost like
cowbell guy.
that was almost like a fugazi. That was like almost not real.
That's cool that you got to see it though.
Wow.
You weren't able to film it or anything, were you?
Man, didn't dawn on me. You know, I did film the roll call. I have it there.
Okay.
But the cowboy guy got me off guard. Then there was a guy who with a Met hat on.
Oh, no.
And then above 203 is where the handicapped area is.
Mhm.
And there's a guy in a wheelchair. Big, heavy guy in a wheelchair. And he started heckling the Met fan, bro.
No. How do you get heckled by a handicapped guy?
Oh, my God.
What do you say? You can't say nothing.
Dude. He says, what's it feel like to be at a real baseball game? Sorry for the tight quarters. We know at Citi Field you have a lot of leg room and space as no one goes to the effing games.
Oh, hell no.
He goes, hey, a-hole, you're at a Yankees game. Take off that crap hat. To use the bad word, he went nuts on him. He killed, dude, the guy took off the hat. The guy took off the hat.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So there was another guy with an Angels hat.
Mm-hmm.
They started with the Angels and the outfield references. They started going, Danny Glover. That's what the guys were standing up and doing that. They were doing the whole arms. Like, they spared nothing. They let everybody have it that they needed to let have it. My goodness. That was a whole lot of fun. So, yes, I'm going back next month. I bought some more stuff, dude. Like, I bought a DiMaggio shirt.
I saw that's what you had on yesterday, right?
I bought a Munson shirt.
Okay.
I bought the shirt I'm wearing today.
Okay.
Very unique shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you saw the back already, right?
No, I didn't see the back.
The back's kind of fat. Hold on a second. The back's got a picture of the man, and just kind of his accomplishments and whatnot. It's a farewell Jeter shirt.
Very cool. There goes Amigo strutting his stuff again over here in the catwalk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Jeter related. So the funny thing is, I'm going to New York next month. You know who I'm going with?
Who?
I'm going with a Red Sox fan.
Oh, you guys are going to the game together?
Yeah, we made a pact.
It's a Red Sox game?
Huh?
Is it a Red Sox game?
No. We made a pact. He's my buddy. I want to go. He wants to come. We're going to hang.
Okay.
And then next year, early in the season, we're going to take a trip in the spring. Not to Florida, like spring, early part of the season. And we're going to go to Fenway.
Oh, man, I would love to go there.
So the idea here is he told me he wanted me to wear my Yankee stuff to Fenway. I said, I'm not doing it. He goes, they'll treat you right. I go, I don't want it.
Right.
I don't want to do it.
There's no reason to step into that trap.
No, it doesn't make me more of a Yankee fan for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to do it. Not going to wear Red Sox. I'm not wearing red and navy or like that's. I might wear a completely opposite color, right? But I'm not wearing a Yankee shirt. I'm not wearing the team's color that they're playing against. I'm not. I'm going to get the Fenway experience. And then I said I wouldn't heckle. And then I said that the flip side was, and I said I wouldn't cheer. That I would just want. I wanted to soak in the experience. I'm dying to do Sweet Caroline. Dying to do Sweet Caroline, and I want to do the Fenway tour. But when we go this time, we're going to do the Monument tour in one of the games we go to.
Have you ever done that?
Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, because I didn't even really think about really wanting to do it.
Here was the problem. When I was a kid, first of all, I don't even remember if the Monument tour was there as a kid. I think there was. But the challenge was my godfather would get there 5 minutes before the game. So we would train to Queens. Like this was like a 2-hour situation. We would have to. I lived in Brooklyn. I'd take the train to Queens. Then my godfather and my cousin each had a car, and we would go in the cars and we would drive to the Bronx. Or I would meet them at the game by virtue of just taking the train straight up to the Bronx. So by the time I got there for night games, I was a kid, or during the weekends, which I went to most of the games on the weekends, I can remember a handful of times watching BP. And back then in my childhood, it was a bigger deal to go and watch BP than it was anything else. So I wanted to go see BP. But the Monument tour, I never did it. And then all the times I've gone back to visit, I've always someone do it, and somehow I get caught up in like that's a fun area. I go in the Yankee shops, and then it's the new Yankee Stadium. You walk around,
Stan's bar,
and it's just awesome. So I go in, we walk into Yankee Stadium, right? Remember we talked about Monet Davis?
Yeah.
Okay. She's throwing 70 miles an hour. She had a tough week, whatever. So they have a speed gun in Yankee Stadium. $3, 3 pitches. So I got it filmed. I threw 45 miles an hour.
Oh my God,
dude! The windup's great. Everything. I have to think the clock is off. I certainly don't think I can throw 70. But I was floored by the notion that it was 4. I threw 2. I had to give the third ball to somebody else to throw because my arm was numb.
Wow.
70's fast.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Uh-huh.
So I did that. But before that, I'm walking around, right, and I'm looking for stuff for Anthony and Amanda. looking for a pink Jeter shirt for a man. That's what she asked me for. So the guys are walking and they're like looking around. Wow, this is great, whatever. I said, I'm going to pull off to the side here. What I'm going to do is I'll catch up to you. I walk in the store. I'm not there 2 minutes. I get a phone call. And one of the guys I'm with, he goes, hey, man, I think I just saw Dwight Gooden here. I think he's here. I said, what? He goes, Dwight Gooden's here. Like, I don't know. Come see him. Tell me if this is him or do I come running out of the store, go chase him.
That's your boy.
Right? But he doesn't know that this guy's my boy. These are guys that I met this week from all walks of life in our company. And while they laughed at the fact, like, they know I was a former radio guy or current internet radio guy, they knew I knew a lot of people, but he wasn't he was just like, oh, wow, I can't believe I just saw Dwight Gooden. And he was a little bewildered why I got so huffy and puffy. I went running. He goes, what's the problem? What's the problem? I go, dude, he's my friend. What are you talking about? He goes, no, he's not. I go, wait. So where did he go? He goes, no, he went in here. I go, hold on. So I text Dwight. Right? I asked one of the ushers, you know where Dwight Gooden is? He goes, no, he went in here, and then he went in there. And there's these doors. I think it led to the Legend Suite, but it's one of the reserved areas, suite areas. So I go over there to go peek my head, and I call, and I get no answer. So I'm like, damn it, I'm not going to get to see him. I'm looking and looking, and the lady goes, can I help you? I go, I'm looking for Doc. Who? I said, Dwight Gooden. She goes, oh, I think he's sitting right there. So when I look, he's working. He's in a suit and tie, and he's working because he works for the Yankees. So I guess he was doing some stuff. He had other people in suits, and he was with them, whatever. And they were standing up to say goodbye, and I see him looking at his phone. Apparently, he's getting my text. So he's looking, and I go, hey, Doc. And when he looks up, points at me. He tells me, wait a minute. Mind you, I'm with 5-6 guys. They're like, oh, that's Dwight Gooden, bro. I go, shh. So whatever, he said goodbye. He walked him to the elevator. He came over to me real quick to the door. He came, gave me daps and hugs. He goes, how you doing? I go, bro, you look great. Look at you. How's everything going? He goes, I'm all right, amigo. And you? I go, good. I go, man, I'm not going to bother you. You're working. I go, I'm going to have you on in a couple weeks on the show. He's like, whenever you want, man, just call me. He goes, look at you, man, all decked out. Because I had my Jeter jersey and everything. He goes, what are you doing here? I go, no, I came. I'm here. I'm here on business. And I came to the Yankee game tonight. I want to go, with my bleacher creatures back there. He goes, man, I wish I could stay and talk. I can't. I gotta take these guys. Apparently, he was entertaining them.
Right.
For some reason. But he goes, I just wanted to come say hello. I got your text. I go, no, these guys, they couldn't. I went to introduce them. They were like, but I thought it was really cool that I got to see Doc.
That's cool, man.
Unplanned. I just got to see Doc. I thought that was fantastic. So that was fun. That was a real fun part. Baseball. I left the best for last. 40,000 on a Tuesday night. A team, there's a good chance they're not going to make the playoffs. Real good chance they're not making the playoffs. A bunch of old veterans that are playing like garbage. I understand it's Jeter's final year. It's an event. We went, got out, took the car, started driving back. And I told you about my experience in the ballpark. 30 or so folk around, heckling, having a good time, enjoying yourself. And it was just a random Tuesday at the ballpark. So then I asked myself, why is it that everybody deems this sport as boring? Different sports are watched in different ways. We've talked on the show about how you watch golf. Oh, gosh. Talk on the radio much, Larry? Hold on. Hello. There we go. Talked about golf and how you watch it. And you won't watch it. I watch it. I enjoy watching Sunday. Very lazy way of doing it. Because they play 72 holes and I want to watch the last 9 to 18. But there's a way to do it. Have you ever been to a golf tournament?
No.
So you've never been part of the Tiger Gallery? You've never sat on... Okay.
No.
Well, when I worked at the Herald, I did some of those Hondas. I covered, one year I did all 4 days, front page. It was actually one of my shining writing moments. It was kind of cool to cover all that. I'm sorry. That's a fun sport to watch. You guys are going to think that's a fun sport to watch. If all sports had the same pace and brought the same emotions and entertainment, what would be the purpose?
You're right.
They have to be different in the way that they entertain you. People complained about golf, right? Like it was a big deal to complain about golf. Oh my God, it's such a slow game. These 1-0 games, blah 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 blah. Like it's ad nauseum, right? People just bitched and moaned and just. Some people just don't understand it. But there's a flow to that game. There's an emotion to that game. Have you seen the fans, how they get into it?
Yeah.
So now I've brought up soccer. I've brought up golf, right? Basketball's quick. The point. You blink, you miss a fast break. Timeout. 1970 timeouts in a game. There's 467 TV timeouts, and each team gets 86 timeout. Like, it's timeout. Timeout. And football is consistent, consistent. Every 40 seconds there's a play. Clock's ticking. You can stop the clock if you go out of bounds. It's a drive. You're advancing the ball. You're on the gridiron. It's the war, etc., etc., etc. We love football, right?
Right.
So I asked myself as I left that park, I go, either I'm a baseball homer or I need to understand what it is that people say they don't like about baseball. And I figured it out. You know who says that they don't like baseball?
Kids these days?
You have the young kids who have attention deficit,
Mm-hmm.
right? Except the kids you take to the ball game. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Kids that play baseball and kids that you take to the ball game get into baseball.
Yeah.
Some more than others understand it and find the value to it. The people who say this are the people who don't consume the product. And they're also the people that don't go to ball games. 40,000 fans on a Tuesday night in Yankee Stadium. That same night in Chicago, there were 31,000. The Cubs suck.
That's why I looked up that number.
The Cubs suck hairy donkey testicles, bro. They're awful.
Look, the Yankees are 65 and 61, so at least they're above 500. All right? The Cubs, 56 and 72.
They suck.
And they're still drawing 30,000.
And they draw 40,000 on a Tuesday night. So I asked myself, how many games this year have the Marlins drawn greater than 40,015? You want to look it up?
Wow. Okay.
You know I have an answer for you.
None.
They don't.
None.
The park doesn't
I don't
hold
even
it.
have to look it up.
Their park doesn't hold it.
What does it hold? Like 33, 35?
You know why they made a small park, right?
So it can look more full when there's less people
Because
there?
nobody comes out to the games. So why is it in one city you can put 40,000 on a Tuesday night and in another city they don't go? What do you think the reason behind that is?
The history.
So you think it's history?
I think history has to do with it.
What else?
Well, that's what I don't know if I said it on this show or my show, but baseball has a love that's been passed down generation to generation. So usually the people that are into baseball are the ones that watched baseball with their dad or with their grandparents.
But how come somebody can't? So hold on, it's passed on. Then then I consumed it. My dad consumed it. My son consumes it. So the people who don't consume it, chances are the generation above them didn't consume it either.
And then the generation below them is not going to have any of it.
So are we not making more of it than it is? Another media misconception. That baseball's not well watched. TV ratings are up, right?
Yeah.
Attendance is up, right?
Mm-hmm. Or
So they're
they
making
say.
more money and more people are going to the ball game.
Or so they say.
I'm just trying to figure out where is this notion and this perception that baseball's on the decline. Like, to me, baseball's biggest problem is the lack of presence within the African American community and Hispanic community as far as players in the game. Just personal opinion. Now, Hispanics, there are a whole bunch of Hispanics in the game, but Hispanics don't go out to the game as much as they used to. African Americans, well, there aren't a whole lot of African American players like there used to be. Wow, historic how you break the color barrier and then, 60 years, 65, 70 years later, 8% of your league is African American. 8% of league, how many African American ball players are there when 8% of the league is African American? 60? 70? Like, I'm not going to make the statement, well, why did we bother to break the color barrier? Because that's a rude statement to make. But that's more of the cause of concern in building on that future, where you could be growing so much more exponentially and you're not doing it. But that nobody's watching the game, that the game's on the decline, the game is boring, game's too slow. Yankees won yesterday in 2 hours and 7 minutes. 7-4 game I went to, okay, lasted almost 4 hours. I left, believe it or not, I left early because we had a long drive to Jersey.
But hold on, is it that we're getting all this, that baseball's boring and that needs to change depending on the region you're in? Because are you hearing these talks in New York? Did you hear any of these talks in New York? So are you hearing these talks in Chicago?
Here, I got one better for you. In the 4-4 game between the last place Astros and the Yankees that aren't going to make the playoffs, no one left.
This number doesn't make any sense to me. But the Marlins right now are on a playoff push, and they're playing exciting baseball. And they have one of the most exciting baseball players in the league right now in Giancarlo Stanton, which we should be going to take advantage because he's not going to be a Marlin next year.
We're not going.
This is ridiculous.
We're not going.
All right? So I looked up 2 Saturdays ago at the numbers. Now, they say that the weekend numbers are supposed to be bigger than the weekday numbers. Do you remember the number I gave you for that Tuesday night of the Marlins game?
You said it was like 20,000.
Okay, 19,000 last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. How does that make sense? Now let's go to Chicago. I said 30,000. They went up to 36,000. Yankee Stadium, 41,000. Last Saturday, 47,000. How does it make sense that those numbers go up, but in Miami, they go down?
What happens on the weekends in Miami when it's 92 degrees and sunny in August?
Oh, everybody goes to the beach.
It has to be that. But let's put aside Miami for a second. Nationally, we've heard the perception that baseball's on the decline. Baseball's not on the decline.
But that's what I'm asking regionally. Like, is that what we're hearing in Miami?
I don't think so.
You think that's all over the place?
Well, that's been a common talk track in reference to baseball in general. What I think you're not hearing in New York, and again, I'm not having my finger on the pulse of New York, but when 40,000 fans go out to a Tuesday night game against the last place Astros, apparently they're a baseball town. Like, that's a baseball town.
Yeah.
You go to Chavez Marine, it's, there's always 30,000 or 40,000 in there, maybe more. They invented drawing 3 million, remember? They invented that game. The game is well attended. The problem is, you want me to tell you what the problem is? It's not a game that's sexy to guess who? Guess who?
The bandwagon?
The media!
Dude, even Boston's drawing 36,000 on a Tuesday
I have
night.
brought it all the way around, and this has been a show we've talked eclectically of a bunch of a myriad of things. And whether it had to do with politics or had to do with sports, it came down to the media.
Yeah.
And I didn't come in here with a sheet, and I've barely looked anything up, but I knew exactly what I came in here. And the reason I was okay with coming in with 2 hours is I needed to get this off my back. Okay? This show, as we take next week off because it's Labor Day and we come and we start football season strong, we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk lo que me salga de los pantalones. Okay? But we're going to make it entertaining. We're going to discuss sports. Okay? And we're not going to act like typical members of the media. When I interview people, I'm not going to ask them questions to exude angry answers. I'm not looking for the break. I don't need the break. The break can kiss my ass as far as I'm concerned. I really don't care. Continue to hire people that nobody listens to. That's fine. And if nobody listens to that show, that's fine too. I'll be fine. But I'm not going to behave like a numbed-up member of the media. And if I go to these things now or I cover them and I get the snooty face, although I don't think anybody's listening to this right now, at least from that circle of people, okay, then I don't care. I really don't care. I'm tired of how the media sensationalizes everything. And you can always go back to blaming the media, Frank. Every topic I've talked to you about today has wrapped around with something having to do with the media. As we enter the football season, be diligent about the information you consume, not the fluff that the media gives you. Dig deeper. Don't just watch the 4-Letter Network. Watch other things. Listen to other shows. Read. Sports is beautiful. Football's beautiful. Baseball's beautiful. Soccer's beautiful. Golf's beautiful. Basketball, unbelievable. I wipe my ass with sports media and their nonsense. Today I thank no one but you for being here. I gotta thank Sandy for coming on, tying something with golf. Wasn't really the whole purpose of the show, but thank you for taking time. But I got nobody to thank, because I was here to make a point today. This show, the Amigo Show, is not typical media. Okay? It's entertainment. Sports entertainment. a deviance for 3 hours on a Saturday while you're running around town doing stuff for your wife. Beyond that, don't believe the hype. Enjoy your sports like you were a kid. Have a happy Labor Day. See you in 2 weeks, folks.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.